Thank you, gentlemen and guns. Coming.
Hey guys, I'm back. My ribs are starting to heal. We're wrapping up Trip Flip. Then we start up Bert the Conqueror. So if you got any thrills, any backdoor crazy things that you and 1,000 people do that no one knows about, hit me up. Reach out to me. Get me out there. That sounds weird. All right. Stand Up Live. Stand Up Live, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. The next week's Minnesota. In the Mall of America, House of Comedy. The week after that is off. And then the week after that is Levity Live. Then June 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that. I'm in D.C. at the D.C. Improv. I am back on tour pretty aggressively while shooting Bert the Conqueror. So come out, find me. I love you. Follow me on Periscope. And, you know, rate, review, and thing this podcast. If you're brand new to this podcast, go and subscribe, rate, review, and tell all your friends, and buy a shirt. And last bit of business, today's guest, I heard her on Jason Ellis, and she was absolutely hilarious, and I didn't realize I've been watching her on Dr. Drew on Call on HLN with Drew Pinsky. She is a co-host of Dr. Drew on Call, and she had a great web series called Debate Your Fate. Check her out. Today's guest, Sam Schacher. Samantha Schacher, Sam Schacher, Sam Schacher, Sam Schacher.
This is Bertcast.
You build this?
No, I definitely did not build this.
Okay.
I definitely did not build this.
Okay.
I got
So contractor is not on your, and lumberman is not on your resume either.
No.
Okay.
Actually, the Wesley Snipes. They're all GoPro Hero Blacks, so I named them after my black heroes. So this is Wesley Snipes. This is Kimbo Slice.
Oh my, who's that? Oh wait, that's not a GoPro.
That's not a GoPro.
Okay, so just two. You have two in here that are named.
Yeah, two, and then this
Okay.
one's called The Machine because my cameraman named it. Connect your GoPro. Here we go. This is your camera.
Okay.
How do you like that framing?
Love it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, you'll float around right there, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great.
And my frame is okay if I do
You
like
do
this
whatever
type
you want.
of thing?
You know what? This is the
Okay.
fucking problem with the entire. This is the problem with having cameras involved, is that it doesn't become the casual conversation you fucking want it to be.
What do
It
you
becomes
mean?
this goddamn fucking production.
Oh, right.
And it's like drives me nuts.
Yeah.
All right, we're recording.
Okay.
It drives me nuts because I'm like, you know, I'm very. I when I envisioned this podcast, I envisioned it just, and you can hold the mic if you want or whatever. It's usually easier to hold it like a MC.
Yeah.
But I envision this just to be like a regular hangout in my man cave, and now it's like 3 goddamn cameras. But it's genuine. Like it's genuine because.
It feels very genuine. Your dog's next door that just had surgery.
Yeah, it's only genuine because I like watching podcasts.
Yeah,
I literally do. I watch Rogan's now more than I listen to it. I'll just go in and it's a little easier to scroll through. They're all on YouTube. They're all on Vimeo.
I prefer to watch a podcast too.
Yeah, and I watched you choke out Ellis this morning.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh wait. Well, okay. So was that was a repeat?
Yeah. It was just online.
Oh, so what you mean when we were at the CNN green room? Because we've done a lot of different.
I think it was in a studio.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You were wearing tight black pants. That's all I know.
Yeah. Were they the leather ones?
Yes, they were.
Hot.
And so in a weird way, it's like I watched that and I was like, but it was very normal.
Right.
So, but that was my whole thing with this thing. It's like once you get it up and running, it's like then it becomes a little bit of a production. I would love to have an assistant in here to do that all for me.
Yeah.
But then you kind of lose the intimacy of the entire product.
Yeah, this feels very backyard, and it is literally. But I love it. You did a really good job. So what was here before?
So this was a woodworking shop attached to the garage. The garage is next door, and the guy that owned it just had like this really beautiful woodworking shop that he had made himself, but it was very low. It was very 1950s.
Wait, it looked just like this with the beams and everything?
No,
okay, because I was going to say, this is amazing.
It looked like if you go into the valley, you'll find a million places like that looked exactly like it. And so I work for Travel Channel.
I know.
And so this company that owns Travel Channel owns DIY. I ran into the DIY guys and said, I want a man cave.
That's amazing.
So Tony and Jason Cameron came out here and gave me a man cave.
Did they film it?
They filmed it, and I got a man cave, and I could never afford it. Here's the problem.
What a perk.
I would have never been able to afford this man cave. And now the biggest problem we have is that we don't want to move because of this man cave.
Yeah.
Because it's like a cool little backpack that you don't want to get rid of because it's got all my shit in here. You know, it's like, and I love collecting shit. I'm trying
to absorb it all. I see you.
The pictures were what they put in for the show, and they're cool pictures. That's when I went skydiving with Rachel Ray up top. Then that was Bert the Conqueror over to the left. That was the first comedy club I worked at, Boston Comedy Club.
Oh, really?
And so I worked the door.
Wait, where's your picture? Are you on there? It's at the bottom next to Norton and next to Jim Norton. Oh, there you are. Wow, That's awesome.
So those were the regulars, and I was the door guy. And so it's kind of like, and then these pictures over here, my girls, one's from my grandmother's funeral. They didn't know they put that up there.
Oh, yeah, they don't know.
They didn't know what they were doing. And then, but like, it's a little collection of everything I have. And then obviously
you can't get rid of this.
I can't get rid of it.
You need to figure out a way to somehow pick this up and attach it to a trailer and take it to your next home location because this is too good.
Here's my goal is I'm going to hopefully something large will happen and we can buy a new house that we fit into and then keep this and then rent here. And this is, by the way, this is my brain. This is not my wife's. My wife, if she was part of this, would be like, you're out of your fucking mind. I believe in the creative unconscious. I believe in the collective creative unconscious.
Yeah.
And I believe that what I should do is pay this identically forward. This man cave has been so creative for me. I wrote my book in here. I've developed 2 sitcoms in here. I've been production in 4 seasons of my show on 2 different shows. I have my podcast out of here. And I believe that what I should do is we should buy a new house, probably in the neighborhood.
Right.
I like the neighborhood. And then rent it to like a young comic with a family who can afford this is what you'd pay in rent in Hollywood and allow him the opportunity to not struggle the way I got the opportunity not to struggle. Well, I mean, I guess I earned it a tad bit, but you know.
But there's a residual imprint here. Is what you're saying?
There's a residual.
There's a creativity.
Yeah.
I'll rent it.
Yeah.
Give me some of that creative juice, please.
Yeah, and so it's been. I mean, I can't imagine leaving this place. We're talking today. We were looking at open houses, and I was like, I just want to add on to the house because I love this house.
And there's no way you can't get a permit, or it's not the right plot of land for that.
I don't know. We don't want to put a second story on the house. Don't know if the house would look right with a second story.
Right.
These are all stupid, silly. These are definitely silly problems for me to talk to you about because I feel like I got an opportunity to talk to someone at least 10 times smarter than I am.
What? I don't know who told you that.
No, but I watched you on TV. I saw you on TV, and then I saw you on Ellis's show.
Yeah.
And you didn't come off like a know-it-all on Ellis's show.
Oh, good. I hope. I definitely don't know.
Well, you don't come off like that on Dr. Drew on Headline News. Is it Headline News?
It's on Headline News. Yeah. Yes.
You don't come off like that at all. I actually like your opinion. You were talking about the Rolling Stone rape.
Yes. The UVA rape. I guess it was an accusation, an allegation, and then ended up backfiring on the victim. And it's really, and I say victim loosely because in this case, first of all, nobody wants to be a victim blamer, right? So we in society today, we're very hesitant to even almost investigate victims. And while I do like the idea that we are marching forward with empowering victims, we also have to make sure that we're not falsely accusing people. And that's what happened in this case. And Rolling Stone magazine did not do their due diligence. No. And in the meantime, they smeared a number of people's reputations, not only the university, not only the fraternity, but her friends who they kind of painted as rape apologists. They didn't even cross-check any of her facts. They didn't call or talk to those friends. They didn't talk to the fraternity. And it was a really disastrous, not only for the magazine, but I feel like just for real victims of sexual assault.
That's
and rape.
The one thing we said we were in the waiting room. We just had a very quick conversation. One of the things that really bummed me out about it, and as a father of 2 daughters,
right,
is that now who the fuck wants to come forward?
I know. No, you're absolutely right. It's already the statistic is and I think this applies only to college women. And I'm not sure if men fall in this category. They're definitely also victims of sexual assault and rape. But I think within this statistic, it was 80% of young women, and I could be wrong, but if I remember it correctly, 80% of women in college, who are sexually assaulted or raped, they do not come forward because of the fear of people thinking that they're lying or victim blaming.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't blame them.
Like, it sucks.
I'll tell you what, and by the way, I'm about to analogize this with something that is gonna sound like I'm trivializing rape, but like it's the same thing with stand-up comedy with people stealing your jokes. 80% of the guys don't come forward because they don't want to deal with the fucking hassle, and the headache, and the like. It's like, who's going to believe me versus some famous guy that is doing our special? Who's going to believe me?
Yeah, you might get labeled as a whiner or a pussy,
and then,
or
people are like,
whatever it may be.
And I don't. And by the way, I cannot. There's no correlation between the two.
No, but you're just trying to. I get it. You're presenting an analogy that's something that you can relate to. But yeah, I mean, we cover a lot of doom and gloom on Dr. Drew on Call, so I'm so happy to be here because because it's nice to not talk about, the police reports that I read.
Oh, by the way, hold on. I've always been a big supporter of the cops. Always. I always say to myself, I can't imagine having that job. Right. I can't imagine dealing with literally starting off the worst day possibly in a lot of people's lives the second you meet them. That's what a cop does.
Right.
Second he pulls you over, this is the beginning of possibly the worst day of your life.
Yes.
That's how you meet everybody.
Right.
But however, like, it looks like they're a lot of videos coming out.
I know.
I mean, she's not the guy in the back.
I know.
And he wasn't even running fast.
I know.
He wasn't even running fast.
I know. And I think it's interesting that you bring up that point because you're right. Because as of recent, we've all been up in arms about, police brutality. And there needs to be reform. And there does need to be reform, clearly.
There does need to be reform.
However, we are painting this picture, which, it may be accurate to some degree. But of course, there's so many police officers out there who are excellent, who are risking their lives, who are they deserve nothing but respect. And then when we're showing, and of course, the news, what sells? Negative stories, right? Yeah. So it would be nice if we could balance it somehow, which will never happen, but if we could balance it with some positive stories so the children or teenagers, whoever it may be, watching the news can think, oh, wow, not all policemen are bad or women. Because right now it seems like that they're all fucked up, and it sucks.
And it's like I swear, I feel like in the Michael Brown case, I kept saying, like, when everyone started rioting, I went, hey, guys, it was a grand jury. Like, they don't take that lightly. Like, I'm pretty sure whatever evidence they got presented that we're not all hearing right now had to be pretty solid in order for them to come across that way.
Right.
However, and even the old man who shot the dude in the back, thought he was tasing him.
Oh yeah,
72-year-old dude.
I know.
I mean, look, you shouldn't have a 72-year-old volunteer police officer doing anything.
Let him do ride-alongs. Let him do other things. But I'm sorry.
Let him feel like he's got power. Let him go work the front line of a concert or something.
Thank you. But an undercover investigation.
What the fuck is he doing there?
With a dude that we still don't know if he really was on PCP or meth. That's still something that's being investigated because they don't have a blood test on that.
That's my wife.
But oh my gosh, hi.
Leanne, that's Sam. Yeah.
I love it. Oh, how cute. This is I love how genuine your podcast is.
It's very genuine. If my kids were here, they'd come in and sit down with you and ask me a million questions.
How old are your kids?
I don't know. No, 10 and 8.
I'll ask the wife.
Yeah. So he was, and then there's the argument. Hey, maybe don't. Let's not. You're starting your own destiny train when you start selling firearms. That's part of it. However,
he's not a good guy. This guy that was shot in horrible situation, such a tragedy, did not deserve to be shot whatsoever.
I understand him running. I totally understand him running.
Right.
That's part of the gig. When you do get busted selling firearms.
Yeah.
Hey, I ran from the cops once when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because it's scary.
Yeah.
And you just go, maybe I can get away and nothing will happen.
You did run from the... Okay, we got to pause because, yes, we're talking about a really tragic situation and it's horrible and there needs to be reform there. But I need to hear your story and then we can revisit this. But
I was 16 years old.
Okay,
16 years old. I just gotten my Fox. We were, by the way, I couldn't even tell you where we were in Tampa.
Like your Fox, bike, like BMX? What do you mean
my Fox? My Fox, Volkswagen Fox. It was the step below the Jetta.
That's amazing.
It was like I want to say it was like $8,000 or something.
And paint the picture. Where are you? What
South
state?
Tampa. South
Tampa
in Florida.
Okay.
It's me, Alan Rieger, Spencer, Trey Arnold, Cayman, and I think that's it.
Okay.
We're all in my.
Wait, how many of you were in this car?
5. It was 5. We were all.
You're squished.
We were all 130 pounds.
Okay.
We're all sophomores.
And you were driving?
I was driving.
Okay.
And we were doing. I I don't know if we were doing a beer run or if we were getting someone to buy us beer.
Of course. One or the other, right?
And so they came in an Allen, go in to buy the beer, or get the beer, and they get the beer, and they get the case, and they walk it out. And as soon as they put it in my trunk and shut the door of the trunk, I hear, cops. So I took off. Oh my gosh. I took off.
Yeah.
And we were in like, and it's only like, okay, so like if this is the store,
yeah,
okay, this is my car, we're parked like this. There's a driveway going in, and then out the other side, there's a huge building right here, okay? So there's like a driveway going out, and then we could pull out in the street. Well, cops come here, we pull out, and a cop car stops here and stops us. And like, so I didn't really technically run that far, but I definitely tried to take off. And then they
caught you?
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. And they took us all out. They separated us. They interrogated us. They did not see the beer in the trunk.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so there was no sort of like misdemeanor.
They were like, what were you running from?
Yeah.
And I said, I got to be honest with you. I just heard cops. I got scared and I just took off.
And that sounds sincere.
And it sounded sincere. And they're like, well, what happened to the other two guys? Because they figured whatever had. The other guys were Cayman and Spencer, or Spencer and Trey Arnold, I think, took off running. And so they couldn't find them.
So they got out of it.
So they left. They left totally.
Oh, they just bailed.
Left
Peace
us.
out.
and so I was like, I don't know. And they're like, well, you know where they are. They both had trench coats on. I was like,
oh,
by the way, yeah, we were into the Smiths and
cool.
and
right
the Dead
on.
Kennedys.
Oh my God, Dead Kennedys
I'm like 10 years older than you.
Well, still, like Dead Kennedys. I think my three favorite albums in high school or even junior high would probably be Dead Kennedys, Minor Threat.
Oh yeah.
And then I would say the last one. I loved metal too, but then I would have to say Black Flag. So like, I was right within that same realm. I was just listening. I still listen to my CDs.
Did you ever listen to Ministry?
To Dead Kennedys? To what?
Ministry?
No, I know of Ministry, but I never got into it. No.
Tonight, Google Al Jorgensen.
Okay.
And just watch.
Yeah.
It's black and white footage of him talking. He is fucking fascinating.
Oh, really?
I'm trying to buy his book, but it's not on Kindle. It is.
And what I'm going to Google, is that something from like the 80s?
Al Jorgensen, he talks about the night that River Phoenix died.
Oh, really?
And like, it's just little snippet interviews. I maybe got like 20,000 hits.
Yeah.
But like, it's fascinating.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I got onto it because, you ready for by the way, and this is what I love about the internet. Got onto it because I was Googling something about corn, and the title was, Jonathan Davis wants to punch Fred Durst in the face.
Oh, okay. And I'm aware of this. Yeah, okay.
And
yeah.
So Fred Durst did a cover of a Ministry song.
Yes, I know all about this.
Yeah.
How do I know about this? I don't know. But I know all about all. Yes.
And never told anyone it was a Ministry song.
I know all about this. Yes. I must have reported on this year. I used to work with MTV and stuff. Yes. I must have. That's crazy.
And so it was the song. By the way.
Okay, so I need to revisit this.
It was at Woodstock was when he did the first cover, but now he's released an album.
Okay.
And it's got it on there, and he credits Ministry, and he didn't. By the way, if you watch the footage of Fred Durst singing "Thieves" with Limp Bizkit at Woodstock,
how was it?
It raises chills. Like it is
really.
It is. I don't know how many people there. 500,000 people. All
really
stomping and energy to the next level. And
are they singing along?
Oh, it's
no. Oh, no.
He's just doing the.
Oh, he's just okay.
And it's fucking amazing.
See, that's crazy.
So then I watched that and I go, I got to see Ministry sing Thieves, and Ministry does it so much better.
Yeah.
And then it's like Al Jorgensen talks about Johnny Depp, so I clicked that. And then it's the night River Phoenix died, and then I got obsessed.
Whoa.
Then I watched everything Al Jorgensen's ever done, and he's doing heroin in front of the camera,
what?
and he's talking about heroin. And I just read the beginning of Naked Lunch with
William S.
Burroughs.
Okay.
There's an amazing NPR on This American Life. Go back a couple weeks, and they just share a special that Iggy Pop did on William S. Burroughs, and it is fascinating. William S. Burroughs was a huge Into the Beat generation with Kerouac and all those, but he was a practicing homosexual, practicing heroin addict, and he is it's fascinating. So got Naked Lunch, so then all of a sudden I'm watching Jorgensen shoot guns with fucking William S. Burroughs, and I'm like, that's
crazy,
mind blowing. And I'm like, I wish I had more brain and more time to deal with this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we never have enough time in the day.
But yeah, and then 6 Degrees of Separation. I go on your videos today. By the way, the debate show you did.
Oh my God, which one did you see?
I saw, I think, fucking all of them that you lost. I
don't always lose, but yeah, the viewers love to vote me.
Okay.
They love
That's why, because
they want me to spin the damn Wheel of Fate.
Yeah.
Which the Wheel of Fate is, the
name of the show is Debate
Your Fate. Debate Your Fate, and it's a show I created.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I created it and I produce it.
For the web?
Yeah, it's with GSN's GSN Game Show Network just launched this digital network like a year ago, and they needed a game show, and so my co-host and I decided they wanted something where it was like a he said versus a she said,
yeah,
but then they wanted some pop culture relevance, maybe some social topics, and so we thought, okay, why don't we do some sort of a debate show, and then it just spun from there. And so the whole element is, to your listeners, we do like 1 minute debates on hot topics. It could be something as pop culture-ish as like Batman versus Superman, or it could be something, like dating and relationship, like Tinder versus Match. And then the loser, voted by our fans, has to spin the Wheel of Fate. And the Wheel of Fate sucks. I've had to cut my hair. I've had to...
I saw the wedgie.
Oh, the wedgie made me bleed. The wedgie he hung me from a freaking... ladder.
Yeah, I saw it.
That was insane. So yeah, we're doing like jackass type stunts to a degree. I mean, clearly we're not doing anything
to a degree, but they're also very highbrow. But not highbrow, but like they're very like. I'll tell you what. I think I saw the wedgie, and then I was like, all right. And in the most lowbrow way, I was like, I'm just going to click to all the ones she loses and just watch her lose.
No.
And I literally watched 10 of you just losing, just back to back to back.
Yeah. They always vote me in. It's so annoying. And then afterwards, once I lose, and they'll write, oh, it should have been Sean. I'm like, screw you guys.
Yeah.
Screw you guys.
So wait, how did you get your start in the business?
And I went to UCLA and I swam for UCLA. So when I first went to UCLA, that was my only mission. I was like, I'm swimming. Swimming's my life. I didn't think really too much outside of what would happen when I graduated. But I eventually...
What was your event?
What was my event?
Yeah.
It changed. So like in high school, when I was actually my fastest, was the 100... back and the 50 free. And then when I got to college and I like developed and grew boobs, I was like, shit, like everything changes. So I became more like 200 IM, 400 IM. Okay. But I was definitely at my peak when I was younger. Like I would say my peak was between like 14 and 17, which, is fairly common for swimmers.
Did you have a female swimmer's back?
I was like 30 pounds heavier in muscle. I was like, I didn't care. I was a beast. I was like, I just want to win. And And then when I quit swimming, like my whole body like returned back to like this twiggy body. It's so weird how that happens.
For the better.
Yeah. I think so. I was shaped like a male swimmer.
Cayman and Alan and I were like, we want swimmers' bodies because the male swimmer's body is the best body.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And the best tan.
Yes.
If you can look good in a Speedo, and by the way, I still rock Speedos all the fucking time.
You wear a Speedo.
Are you going to
show me a picture?
Do you not follow me on Twitter?
I don't think I do. Where is my... Oh, yes, I do. I follow you on Twitter. I do.
You're about to say...
When did you wear it?
Oh, you'll see. I'm pulling this up, and I know this isn't part of the... whatchamacallit, but you know what? It just needs to be shared.
So you got to tell me, how recent is this? Is this like
was
a summer ago?
Hang on. This was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, my God. And you were wearing a cowboy hat. I hope I get to... Oh,
and cowboy boots.
What song is this? Baby Got Back?
We're doing a Travel Channel Stars, next Travel Channel Star, and we wanted something to get eyes on the site. So I did that.
Oh my gosh. And have your viewers seen this?
A lot of people.
Have you guys seen this?
Yeah, I'm sure they have. If they listen to my podcast, they've definitely
You wear it well. You absolutely wear it well.
I still wear Speedos, and I love Speedos. It's amazing how fast you swim in a Speedo.
Oh, 100%. Shorts drag.
You glide.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
We went out to Lake Powell and for like an episode, and I would have bathing suits on with my Speedo underneath, and the second we were done wrapped, I'd throw the bathing suit off and
like
just
torpedo.
Speedo around. I was like, zoom, zoom, zoom. It's disgusting to look at. So you swam.
So I ended up quitting swimming.
I'm a really bad interviewer.
No, we still never finished your police story, by the way. You told me they had trench coats, then we moved on to the Smiths, to Dead Kennedys. We'll get to that.
The interesting part was I told them I didn't have the key to open the trunk.
Yeah. Oh, and that's where the beer was. Smart.
Because they had given me randomly a valet key. For this car, a valet key.
I got
a valet key that only started the car.
You're lucky.
And so you could lock the glove box. And so I ditched the keys in the side door, pulled the valet key out and said, I only have a valet key for this.
That.
And I said, and they said, well, we saw them close the trunk. I said, you did not see them close the trunk. They probably slapped the trunk. But I go, they did not close the trunk.
They slapped the trunk.
I go, and the guy was like, okay. But here's what's interesting. The guy said to me, here's the deal. Give me your parents' phone number. And so I gave him my phone number. And he goes, I'm going to call your parents tonight. You may want to beat me to that call and run home and tell them what you did.
Yeah.
So I went home and I fessed up. I told my parents that.
Oh, good.
I didn't tell them I'd appear in the trunk.
No, you sugarcoat.
By the way, we still had a case of Natty Light to kill that night. So, but I didn't drink and drive. I never drank and drove. So I just didn't. So anyway, go ahead.
So then I was over swimming for quite some time. Like I knew that it was like my ticket into getting into college because I had a scholarship. So I was like, okay, I'm riding this wave. Got into college and then I just couldn't do it anymore. So lost my scholarship, started working, blah, blah, blah. Ended up graduating. And then when I graduated, I was working like random odd jobs, like a closet shop where I literally sold hangers. And long story short, one of my clients at the closet shop worked at Judge Judy. And she was like, you would be a great PA for my husband, who was the executive producer. And I was like, yeah, I'll do whatever I can. That sounds great. Because I always wanted to get eventually into producing, working in the entertainment industry, something. So I ended up working as a PA at Judge Judy, worked my way up to producer there, loved it. And then I ended up leaving Judge Judy as a producer to start working on hosting. So I started doing, my own like fake hosting segments.
So wait, Judge Judy, when you produce it, like, and I don't, maybe you can't talk about this.
Yeah.
But like, how mad are those people at each other?
Pissed. That's the ticket. So we get real small claims cases from courts, and some people send in their own cases, but most of our cases come from these small claims courts.
Yeah.
And the ticket as a producer, or the main ingredient, I should say rather, is you want to make sure that you get two people that are emotionally invested. So it could be an ex-boyfriend and an ex-girlfriend, a brother and sister, cousins, whatever that may be. And then your job as a producer is you manipulate. This sucks. We manipulated the shit out of them. So like I had them in two different holding rooms, and I'd be like, and it'd be true. I'd like first talk to the litigant, both litigants, but like the plaintiff, and I'd say, so give me like your bullets. Oh, they did this, they did that, blah, 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 blah. Then I'd go right over the next person. They're separated. And I'd be like, so she said this, 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 and this. Oh, they come out ready. Like they come out ready to like throw punches. And Judge Judy, her whole thing is to kind of keep them like, make them stop talking, right? She's amazing.
Yeah,
we would tell them when Judge Judy tells you like stop talking, if you stop talking, that's going to make it look like that you're not fully invested in the case, which makes it look like that you're guilty. So that's why they talk over her, because the producers we manipulate them. It sucks.
That's great.
But they're real cases.
Hey, can I tell you the only thing better than Judge Judy is the Mexican Judge Judy?
Who?
Christina.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh my
Is she People's Court? No, she's redhead.
It's in Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
And it is next level. They have custody hearings on their show.
No way.
Custody hearings with the children in there,
and the
gnarly. Mom. And I speak enough Spanish to understand Telemundo.
How do you speak Spanish?
I grew up in Florida, so I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually. Let me rephrase that. I don't speak enough Spanish to talk to fucking anybody.
Okay.
I can buy drugs in Mexico, but I understand enough Spanish to pick up the gist of sentences when people are talking.
Right.
And I used to watch that, and just it was fucking they had a custody battle on the fucking show, and I was like,
that's crazy right there, because I can imagine if ours is about two cousins fighting over
kids are crying. Mom's like, he smokes crystal. He smokes crystal.
Oh my gosh.
Fumar cristal. And I'm like,
that's a whole nother level right there.
Oh, it's next level.
That's next level. Okay, so then I ended up piecing out and started doing my own hosting stuff and just doing my own thing, and then I slowly worked my way up. So I was working for HBO Lab, which was it was HBO's digital version years ago, and then it went under. And then I was doing things for MTV Australia, MTV New Zealand, more action sports type things. Yeah. And then Are you fearless? I would like to think I'm fearless, but no, I'll fake it for the camera. And afterwards, I'm always like, dude, that was so rad, and I'm pumped on it. But during it, inside, I have total mini panic attacks. But you can't show that on camera.
Yeah, you can.
Oh my God.
I do it.
They didn't want me to.
I do it constantly.
See, if I had it my way, if I was producing my own thing, then yeah, I would totally be me. But when I was doing this other show, it was supposed to be oh yeah, let's do this. And that was So I'd be like on my way up to go skydiving, like panicking inside, and then to like MTV, I'd be like, yeah, but dying. So yes,
You're right. MTV does want that. They do want the beautiful girl who's fucking rad and wants to hang out with Travis Pastrana. And
oh my God,
Wild Boys.
totally.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think
sense.
if we did anything with Travis, because it was all like we would do the stunts with these action sports stars. So we would do like big wave surfing, and we do all. I never did the big wave surfing. I did like, I think my wave was around like, but I grew up in Santa Cruz, so I know how to surf. But it wasn't like gnarly, like we weren't at Mavericks. That's insane. But we did do like
a 6-foot wave's a beast of a fucking wave. I'm being very candid.
Thank you. Yeah, and when you're laying down paddling, it's huge when you look up.
It's like staring up at fucking Shaq's dick.
You're
just like, oh my God, no thank you. Yeah,
I love that you compared a 6-foot wave to Shaq's
compare a lot to Shaq's dick, and I've never seen it. If I do ever see Shaq's dick,
I can't imagine.
Oh.
Huge. I don't understand how it like doesn't go through the woman's like uterus. Like how? Like it's insane to me when I really think about it.
I bet it's probably average for his size, which is just a big dick. If he had if Shaq had a big dick for a 7-foot person,
I can't
imagine. You know, like I hear Ellis has a big dick.
Oh my God! You can't tell me that.
I think he told me that. So
well, I guess it's on the internet. He told me, yeah, you can Google my dick. I've yet to Google his dick. I don't feel right about it. Are you Googling his
Googling his dick right now. Are you kidding me?
No.
Of course.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so while you're Googling his dick.
Keep going.
Okay, so then, I did MTV New Zealand. Then I was working on a car racing show. And then after that, I was working on a pop culture show,
which I love. Show?
It was on Versus Network. It only was one season. It was called Circuit Battles.
Okay.
So what it was these kind of like, I guess Circuit Battle is like a drag race, but like on a circuit track. That's like what a circuit battle is. And so that was fun. That was like cool and everything, but it was very short-lived. Then I started doing a pop culture show, which I love, and I produced that show, which I still do today, which is called Pop Trigger. That's on the Young Turks Network, which is the largest online news show in the world.
A big fan. I've became familiar with Young Turks through Rogan.
Oh my gosh, wonderful.
Senek.
Yeah, Cenk. But it's spelled Cenk, but it's pronounced Jank.
Jank.
Yeah, the first time I met him, I was like, in my head, I was like, it's Jank, not Sank. It's Jank, not Sank.
Well, your last name's Schacher.
Yeah.
Which is not, it doesn't look like Schacher.
No, it looks like Schacher, Shaker.
Schacher.
Yeah.
Schacher.
Fancy.
So wait, I find that guy fascinating.
He's awesome.
I read his bio. He's an interesting guy.
Totally just says it like it is.
And the girl, Anna Kasparian?
Yeah, says it like it is. Both of them. Non-filter, like just boom, this is what we think. Love it, hate it. Yeah. So that's so still work on that show. And then that led to Dr. Drew, because they were looking on someone that can like provide like social commentary, pop culture commentary. And I just went on there on one episode, and then it stemmed from there. Then they kept having me back, and then I became his co-host, and now we're reformatting the show, but it's been 2 years now over there, which is insane.
I love Drew.
I love Drew.
I
love him. He's such a good guy.
Yeah. He really is a good guy. And I told him this the last time I did this podcast, but the story that I'm probably most famous for is getting involved with the Russian mafia when I was a kid.
Wait, what?
Everyone listening is like, ugh, I wish you had just known it.
So what do you mean? How old were you?
22 years old. I got involved with the Russian mafia. And,
how? Were you like a mule, a drug mule?
No. I was studying abroad. I was studying abroad.
Locked up abroad?
No. I was just studying abroad, and it was... the mob ran Russia. They needed we needed protection, so we paid off the mafia to keep us safe.
Wait, what? You needed
I'm giving
protection?
you the very abridged.
Okay, really quick. You needed protection for what?
From Russia, from the mobs. So the mob
why?
So the mob ran Russia. So when we went over, the mob's like, great. How about I'm ballparking numbers?
So you decided to study abroad in Russia?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And so, and when we went over there, the mob said, "That's awesome that you're coming over here to the travel agency or whatever but how about you give us like 20 grand and we'll make sure nothing happens to you."
That's insane.
Oh yeah, this is.
But what do you do at that point?
You give them 20 grand.
I agree. I would have done the same thing.
So I didn't give them anything. I was a child. I was like 22, and so
that's my bag. So what'd you say?
I didn't say anything. I just found out when we got there, we've paid off the mafia to keep us safe in exchange for money to give us to young gangsters, and so they stayed with us. So
how often were they with you?
Fucking every single day.
What do you mean? Like Secret Service?
And they became my best friends.
So you were like
everything.
Malia Obama, and you had like Secret Service with you all the time?
More like, imagine if Secret Service didn't really want the job.
Oh, were they rude?
No, they were just like,
Did you like party with him and stuff?
A lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah. By the way, we're losing everyone that's listening.
Okay, sorry, guys.
No,
Okay,
because
move
they're
on.
like, Jesus, Bert, we've heard it.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
But like, I don't know what. So anyway, randomly.
Yeah.
Very randomly, and this is my
And what's
testament.
Drew think of this story?
Well, I'm doing Drew's show. This is probably 8 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It was right after Adam left.
Okay. Oh, you're doing Loveline.
Loveline.
Okay.
And they didn't have a co-host yet.
Okay.
So they were in between Adam and the next co-host.
Mike, or in between there?
Stryker, before Stryker.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, yeah, 8 years ago. That makes sense.
8 years ago. So I'm doing Drew's show, and a kid from my class calls up. And he says, why don't you tell Drew about the time you robbed us in Russia?
Wait, what?
And I'm like, what? And he's, why don't you tell Drew about the time you robbed the train in Russia?
Robbed a train?
And so I go, and by the way, it's like, and this is, I really hate the fact that I feel like I'm somewhat of a self-promotionist now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of shameless self-promotion.
Right.
However, in this business, in this day and age, if you're not selling yourself in a meeting or on press or in media or on stage, no one is. So you better get on the train.
Yeah, it's true. It's uncomfortable, but it's true.
Excuse the pun. But
Yeah.
so I had just gone on to just be a comic and just tell jokes and improv with the thing. And Drew's like, excuse me? And then I'd literally almost probably forgotten about the story. And I was like, oh yeah, I did that. And he was like, what?
My gosh.
So I told Drew the story. I told it very like abridged. I'm sure you can find it online. It was like what I remembered of like from the moment of the guy saying it to me going, yeah, I got involved with the Russian mafia and they were my buddies and they called me the machine. I called myself the machine and they started calling me the machine. What I was trying to say in Russian is I am the man, which is ya machina, but I said ya machinu, which means I am the machine.
So you speak Russian?
No, that's part of the
But
other.
you understand it?
No.
Okay.
That's part of the other beauty of this story is that I took fucking 2 years of Russian and never learned a fucking word.
What were you doing
I was
there?
just getting C's. It was Florida State. I was on the Jameis Winston program. And
my gosh.
And
Wait, so when you rob a train, are you actually like sticking them up?
No.
Like, what do you do? Or are you pickpocketing?
We just robbed them.
Like how?
We
Like
waited until we started by robbing the bar cart, which I didn't know we were doing.
Oh, so first you're robbing the alcohol.
No, the money, the cash register.
Okay.
Like we went in, I got. I can't believe I'm telling this story, but now we're in it. But like, I went into the bar. I got 2 new gangsters for the train. Igor and Sasha were my gangsters in St. Petersburg, and different mob ran the train, different mob ran Moscow.
Whoa.
They told us that. They go, you get new gangsters. Nobody, like, don't worry. We told them about you. They know who you are. They're going to take care of you.
What?
And so they told me. When we got there, they're like, guys, this is the machine. If you give the machine vodka, you'll have a great time.
They love that you're...
And they fucking loved me.
Yeah, I could tell. I can just imagine they loved you,
And
especially at 22.
And they had never seen any of the movies that we all grew up on. So anytime I needed a joke, I just took a line from Caddyshack quotes.
They thought you were hilarious.
And they're like, this guy is, who the fuck is this guy? And then they'd be like, he's the machine. so I'm partying with them, and then we went into the bar cart, and Big Igor said to me in Russian, the 2 guys that we were with on the train were both named Igor. And he said, go behind the bar and grab bread. And I understood him, and I was proud. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm fucking learning.
Yeah.
So then I go back, I grab bread, and he's like, grab cheese. I'm like, I know what you're saying. He's like, grab vodka. I was like, give me another one. And he's like, grab the money. And we robbed the bar cart.
Okay, so it wasn't the people's money.
Oh, no, Igor was robbing the people as he went around the thing.
And how does he rob the people? Give me your money.
Just go into their pockets. Give me your money. It's the mob.
Holy.
I mean, and it's 1995. You got to remember, this is, I mean, you were only like 10, but like,
That's insane.
This is a time, so Russia breaks apart the economy before they end communism.
Okay.
They break apart the economy and say, we're gonna practice out. I'm by the way, if I'm wrong about this, everyone, no reason need to tell me.
Yeah, right.
I'm not on headline news.
Yeah.
They break apart the economy before it's called perestroika, I think.
Okay.
And so they break apart the economy and allow communism to start trickling in before communism falls there. So what in that process, what happened is the black market, which was already operating in communist Russia, which were the gangsters, which were this. I mean, I'm talking like, you got to realize what kind of fucking ballsy ass gangster runs illegal crimes in Soviet Russia.
That's crazy.
In the 80s and the 70s. These guys are already in. So as soon as this happened, they took over everything.
Wow.
And the mob took
pounced.
took over all of Russia.
Right.
And it was so bad. There was a magazine out. I can't remember the name of the magazine. It was like The Expatriates or something, about these two guys who would do. This is during this time that I was there. I want to say Johnny Knoxville showed me this article. Because I told him I'd been to Russia, and he was a writer for Big Brother, and I think he showed me it, or he may not have. I don't know. But they would do stunts with each other to see how much they could get away with the cops. They literally, and my recollection's always shady, literally would go to the morgue and see if they could buy a corpse. And then they bought a corpse, and they're like, holy shit, we got a body. What the fuck do we do with this body?
They made a game out of it.
And they literally, and they'd write about it. They'd write about their adventures, and they'd say, let's see what happens if we have a corpse in the trunk and the cops find us. I wonder if we can get out of it. And they do it, and they get out of it, and they go, holy shit, what if we have the head? What if we just have the head in the middle of the console? I wonder if we can get out of it. And they get out of it.
Just when you think how fucked up like certain people or cultures, societies, whatever countries are, then you hear, no, they're more fucked up than what we thought.
So it was a very lawless time. I remember watching outside a bookstore. I remember watching a guy get a gun put in his mouth, and people just walked away. I mean, it was
people didn't want to interfere. I mean, because of the fear, right?
No, you're talking about a group of people who all grew up under communism. Under communism, you never raised your voice. You never spoke in the subway. It was silent in the subway. You never talked out loud. Men would hold hands or hold arms so they could whisper to each other. It was very secretive, and you didn't rock the boat. And then you have these gangsters coming in going, oh, we've been rocking the boat the whole time, and now no one can fucking stop us.
That's insane.
And it was really it was the Wild West.
I cannot believe that you were
very
there.
interesting time, and then we robbed the train, and then I'll send you a link to the story.
What did Drew say though? Like, was he just like, what the hell?
I tell the story, and Drew's like, you know the story. You know the look when Drew is.
I can't wait to talk to him about it tonight. I cannot wait to talk to him about it tonight.
And so I tell him the story, and he goes, "That is amazing. That's maybe the best story I've ever heard." He goes, because it doesn't even the best part of the story. And by the way, the best part of the story is, we pull into Moscow, and the teachers who have known that we've just robbed our whole class and the whole train, someone told the police. And so the police were there when they got there. And the teachers were like, you're going to fucking jail. Like, the police are here. And the police took a statement from my whole class. And the gangster just goes out that I'm with, the big Igor, just starts yelling at the cop going,
no, he's not.
Fuck you. We fuck you in the ass. I'm like, easy, buddy.
Whoa.
And then the cop calls me over and like, I don't even know what that means. But he's like, it doesn't sound like, you're okay, stay there. Calls me over, and I get in the cop's face, and he grabs me by the arm, and he looks at me, and he goes, so I understand you're the machine. And so it's a good story. It's a good story. It's a good story. It's the best. It's the reason I wrote a book. I have a book. I'm sure I'm fucking floating around here. It's the reason I wrote a book. It's because of that story.
Yeah.
I tell the story to Drew. Drew says to me, I'd like you to come back tomorrow night and tell that story again.
He's hilarious.
So I come back the next night, and he goes, can you tell the machine story again?
He's hilarious.
I tell it again, and he just tells me, he goes, this is your movie. This is your book.
Oh, my gosh. I can't wait to talk to Drew about it tonight. He's going to love it.
And so I did his podcast recently, and I told him the story again. I said, so that's the very first time I ever fucking told it in any capacity.
On Loveline, on radio.
And then I never told it again for probably 5 years, and then told it once on radio, once on another radio, and then I did Rogan for the first time, and I said something, and then I said, when I come back next time, I'll tell you about when I got involved with the Russian mafia and robbed a train. And literally, I came back, and it changed my career. It changed my career.
Wow.
Let's get the fuck off of Bert. I'm telling you all about me.
I love it.
So when you do Loveline,
I've done Loveline. I fill in for either Drew or Mike whenever they're gone.
Mike's great. I have Mike on the podcast.
Oh, God,
Mike's fascinating.
I love them both.
Yeah.
I get dick pics, not his own, but Drew and I get dick pics that Mike sends us right before we go live on air. And sometimes during it. And I know to put like that little moon thing on my phone, which silences it. What is that?
Yeah. The do not disturb.
Drew doesn't, because Drew's afraid that he'll forget to undo not disturb his phone, which means when he gets out, he could get a really important call from a patient because he's still a practicing doctor.
Yeah.
So I know to put the do not disturb. Well, throughout our work, because we are live on Dr. Drew on Call, we get gnarly.
You guys are live to any delay?
Maybe like a beat. Maybe if Drew's like in New York and I'm here, there might be like a 1.5 second delay. But we are getting nasty. Not only like dick pics, but like I mean like crazy fetish pics from Mike Catherwood throughout
Mike's a fascinating
1 hour
guy.
show.
So wait, here's what I always wondered when I watch that show. So like, say you guys are talking about say you guys are talking about Ferguson.
Okay, which we did, yeah.
Yeah, and then like Ferguson's a bad example, but like maybe like say you're talking about the dad who looted or the dad who said burn this motherfucker to the ground. And everyone kind of all is on the same page with like he shouldn't have fucking done that.
Wait, which dad was it? You have to forgive me because we cover so many cases.
So much shit.
Oh, and it's gnarly. So I don't know which
Mike Brown's stepdad.
Oh, okay.
After the verdict stood up on a
when
car
he was
and
on
said,
the car and he said
burn this motherfucker to the ground.
Right.
What I'm curious about is like when you guys start. Sometimes when I watch the show, some people seem cartoonish in their opinions. Like they're like clearly, like I go clearly that can't be your opinion.
Oh, I like yeah.
Like
okay, so the producers are really good at. They don't tell you what your opinion should be. However, they are really good at picking personalities that are very opinionated. And certain people do know to bump it up. Like the first person that I can think of is this gentleman named Shagun that comes on the show. And he will bump it up. So let's say he really is in opposition to what happened that night. He will be loud. He'll start, and then I'll start talking. He'll tell me shame on me and then I'm like, wait, what do you mean shame on me? I didn't even get 2 words out. Can I please like finish my sentence? Because maybe I'm in agreement with you, but you're cutting me off. So yeah, it just kind of. But we only have like it's a difficult format because first of all, we're all in boxes. Yeah. We're like I always say we're like 2 boxes short of the Brady Bunch. When you watch us visually, it's like box, 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 and we have very few seconds to get our opinions out.
It's a very difficult medium to operate in.
It's so difficult. It's not like you and I talking right now, or if it was like me, Drew, and maybe like 2 experts on a couch, which hopefully is the future of our show. We're working on that right now. It'll be a live audience show.
Is that what you guys are thinking about? Is that the
It would be. We
transition?
just redid the whole studio. It'd be fantastic, and it looks like we are moving in that direction. But
that'd be great. Because I like the show. I like the show. I actually like the show. I like it the way it is. I don't have a problem with the way it is. But like, I watch it. I don't watch other versions of that style of show,
right?
Because of that reason.
It's hard. It's hard to like. I don't get to see Drew. He's in a box. I'm in a box. He's in a totally different flash than I am. And then you're listening very hard to the other people. And if there is someone,
and you can't look like you're listening. You can't be like,
yeah. No, and then some people are on little delays because some of the people might be from DC, they might be from New York. So sometimes you start talking and then they don't know you're talking, so then they start talking and it can be difficult.
And that's the only time it's frustrating is when you see them talking over each other and you're like, but that's very hard to
and
not do.
Sometimes there's a delay, and sometimes you really don't even know that's happening until it's too late. So it's. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's a great show. It keeps you on your toes. I love live television.
You guys have. Have you had Tiffany Fallon on?
We haven't had Tiffany Fallon. We've had
who she is?
We've had a Tiffany Henry on, but not a Tiffany Fallon. No,
I thought I saw Tiffany Fallon on one time.
She
might have been on like
been.
Nancy Grace or something.
Oh, okay.
Like when they do that. But she went to Florida State with me.
Oh, what was she?
She was
attorney, host,
Playmate. She's.
I wonder if we maybe then did have her on because we've done some stories where we'll have a Playmate come on.
She was married to the lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
Oh, really? No, I don't think we've had her on. I would know.
That.
I think I would remember that.
I don't really think I knew her. I mean, I might have known her, but I don't.
Yeah.
But like, it was just we had mutual friends. And then we both went into entertainment.
Yeah.
And so it's like and I saw her on the TV one time, and she had a very educated opinion. Do you ever have to skew your opinion because the panel's so lopsided?
Sometimes I
because you're good at that. You're good at arguing.
Yeah, that's the show. It's kind of like it reminds me of Debate Your Fate to a certain degree, in the sense that no one's gonna watch us talk about a subject if we're all in agreement.
Well, people watch Nancy Grace.
So
she's
a caricature, though. She really is. She
really is a caricature.
She is so different and crazy and passionate, and I say that in the most respectful way because I think that she's great at what she does. But she is you tune in to see this Nancy Grace caricature. Yeah. So with Drew, Drew, he's level-headed. He's very logical. He is very kind. And so with all of us, but he gets heated too. So we all have to make sure, no matter what that opinion is, we have to be strong about it. But yeah, if you kind of feel like things are heading into a lull, I might get a little birdie in my ear, a producer saying, amp it up. So then all of a sudden you're like, oh, and you got to find something. There's always something in the story that you can become outraged about, or you might need to tweak what somebody else said and bring up a different subject matter that you can kind of have some sort of confrontation on. Otherwise, it's just not interesting to the viewers, and that's a lot of pressure. And sometimes I go home and just being like exhausted because I have a very my opinions, even though I'm strong in my opinions, I'm very I always see both sides of things. Yeah. And on this show, I can't do that. So when I go home, if I were to have a conversation with any of the people that I was in a quote unquote argument with, of course, if we were sitting down, I would always see their side. Yeah. And that's just who I am. So it can be exhausting. And then the Twitterverse goes nuts.
Oh, God.
How could you say that? Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, listen, I got 30 seconds to say my point. Like, so sorry I couldn't elaborate on it more, but leave me alone.
You gotta be just dead inside and be like,
yeah.
Have you ever been called a racist?
Yeah, I have. And the funny thing is I am always...
The funny thing would be is if you and I fuck a lot of black guys.
Oh, man, I won't elaborate there. But,
Wait, have you ever been with a black dude?
I'm not. I'm married, and
Are you married?
Yes, I'm married, and he's a Jewish boy.
Oh, really?
And boy, he's.
Oh, so if his parents found out, they'd lose their minds.
I'm not even going to talk about that. They already were not happy that I am not Jewish.
Bro, you are what?
They weren't happy about that.
Started the Holocaust.
Yeah, I'm German too. They weren't happy about
blonde
that.
Hair,
yes.
Blue eyes. And you're what they were. You're the reason they got kicked out of their house. I mean, to laugh at the Holocaust, but you are the epitome.
Right. Yes. In their minds, I'm probably a Nazi. No, they love me. They love me. But yeah, my ancestors are
is that
German.
What they call you?
I'm pretty sure I've been called that. What is it?
It's I think that means
a goy. I've been called a goy.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been called a goy, which is a non-Jew.
Yeah.
But no, they love me. But yeah, there was an incident in the beginning when they were like, "Are you going to convert?" And I was like, "Oh dear Lord."
Just saying that, they're like, "I guess that's a no."
Yeah, exactly. She's wearing a cross.
Jesus Christ.
She's wearing a cross. No, I'm not. I'm not really even a religious person. But I didn't want to even have to choose a religion. Is
do you
what
believe
I told
there's something
them.
after life?
I think, yeah, I do believe that there's something out there, and I do. There's some comfort in thinking that there's a spiritual guidance. I mean, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm a very moral person, but I do not like dogmatism or judgment or anything I don't like organized religion, and I don't like the way that they guilt and shame people, especially, the gays and lesbians and transgenders. Like that breaks my heart to see what's happening to them nowadays. So with that said, what was I talking about? I don't remember.
Dudes.
Black dudes. Why?
Have you ever been called a racist?
Oh, okay. Okay. So I always stick up for, I guess I'm just really empathetic. So I do have white privilege guilt. I do. I didn't grow up wealthy by any means. I struggled, but I do have, for instance, that day that you were running out and the cop said, let's see in your not your glove compartment, but your trunk, and you were able to just say, listen, we smacked it. Who's to say that would have happened if it was a group of 4 black kids? You know what I mean?
It wouldn't have happened.
Right. And same thing with me. I've gotten out of tickets just by being oh, police officer, and I get out of a ticket. Yeah. Who's to say that would happen if I, was a African-American female? So I do have this white privilege guilt, and I don't even think it's guilt. It's just almost I look back at our history and I go, wow, what a fucked up, horrific history that we have is in regard to black history. So I always, when we have a story, and maybe even to a detriment where it clouds my judgment, I always look at these social injustices that we cover, like Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin and all these things. And sometimes maybe I'm almost too much of an apologist. So when somebody calls me a racist, a black race, that you hate blacks, it's that's what surprised me, because if anything, I'm always trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because of the unequal justice that happens in our society today. So yeah, I've been called a racist, which I think is completely unwarranted.
You should just write back, I hate everything but black people.
Right.
I had a moment.
You can't win. You can't win.
No, you can't. You can't. Especially, it's I used to talk about race when I first got into stand-up, because I was starting in New York, and I do a lot of urban clubs. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of urban clubs, but I did one of the ones I worked at primarily. Yeah, was urban that was in a
I
weird way.
love urban clubs, by the way. I used to work at an urban club. We'll have to
Really?
get to that, too. That was a pretty crazy story.
Like a stand-up club? Or just
No, that was a nightclub. I know you're
really?
referring to a stand-up, but in college I worked for an urban nightclub, and it was gnarly. Like, loved them, hustled, made my money, but I went through 3 shootings. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it was really crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot. Here's the only thing I'll say is I stopped. The reason I did talk about black people, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Cubans, Asians, everyone but and white people.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I did that is because I was working in a capacity where I was often the only white guy or one of the few white guys there, and so that was you would go on stage and then 4 black chicks would be in the front and just roll their eyes when they saw you.
Oh no!
So you'd be like, okay, well I have to address this, and then I got really good at it, and I got really good to a point where I was like, I liked it, and I thought I was breaking down barriers, and then one day I went, I don't think anyone really wants to hear my opinion. I don't know if my opinion about that matter is, and society changed in a weird way. And I was like, I don't know if anyone really wants to hear my opinion. I don't know if my opinion is anything other than lighthearted and mocking racism. And I don't know if that's
mocking racism, though, being satirical about it, I think does break down barriers. It does.
But I was just like, but it was such a volatile issue that I was like, I don't know if I want to risk a career over it. Right. So, and I'm not that guy. I'm not Lisa Lampanelli.
Okay.
And I'm not Nick DiPaolo. And what they do is fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
And if I decide to talk about race now, then I will have a distinct view about it. But now all I do is talk about myself. I just talk about all my stories and my views on me. And like, if that's where I'm at now. And so like, I kind of stopped talking about it. I don't know how we got in. Everything's gotten so volatile.
Oh, right. Okay. So,
and that you get called a racist and it just shuts you down.
It shuts you down. It's so, it's such a powerful statement, to call somebody racist. And perhaps we are overly sensitive too nowadays. I mean, it's a double-edged sword because I'm glad that we are evolving and trying to become more tolerant, but are we doing that to the point where it's so easy to call somebody a racist?
Well, first of all, let's justify this for every one of my African American or black listeners. A lot of people are racist.
Yeah,
a lot of people are racist.
Oh, yeah, we're not living in a post-racial America.
And listen, I'm not saying I'm
absolutely not.
I'm not saying you're racist. I'm not saying I'm racist.
Right.
Let's just say racism's real, and there are certain mild forms of it that are all over the place. Fucking all over the place.
It's horrible.
And just judging a book by its cover simply is racism or prejudice, and that happens every fucking day.
Right.
And I'm guilty of judging a book by its cover. I do that constantly.
We all have prejudices that we need to work on, and I think going back to like Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, if that day, I don't care which way you can say it so simply as George Zimmerman should not have gotten out of the car and he shouldn't have, but even to the degree of if you didn't have any sort of prejudices of a kid in a black hoodie, that would have never happened either. So we need to be more tolerant, and if we do have these prejudices, which we all do, be aware of them. And I think the more we can have like dialogues about race, and it's silly here. I mean, not to say silly, but here you and I are 2 white people having a conversation about race, but we have I have to choose my words carefully here because I want to say we have every right to, but we don't to a degree of we can't empathize with what our, black sisters and brothers have gone through.
We can't assume perspective.
We can't.
And that's something I had to learn.
Yes.
I had to learn.
I don't know what it's like. I don't, but it breaks my heart that, that we still aren't living in a post-racial America, and I want us to. And that's when I say I have a right, because I want all of us to have like the same common goal of being more evolved and tolerant. That is something that we all hopefully one day can get to, but we're not there.
I did a podcast with Kamau Bell. He had a show on FX. He's a comedian, black dude, very funny, very insightful, very smart. Out of San Francisco, lives in San Francisco now. I wonder if I'm going to be. Oh, I wonder. And the day before I did the podcast with him, my buddy Tom and Sandy, who are Vietnamese, that does not matter for the story, but I simply say it because they fucking are. And so, Sandy called up and said, Tom's gone, and we lost his brother Jimmy's dog. Can you go? It's like fucking midnight. She's like, do you mind getting on your bike and looking for the dog, helping us find the dog? So I ride my bike over to their house, and I start riding up and down the streets, whistling for the dog or looking for the dog, but I got a flashlight. And in the middle of doing that, I'm like, what questions am I going to talk to Kamau Bell about? I realized, this is an activity he simply could not do. He can't just go around a black guy with a flashlight into people's backyards.
Yeah.
He can't. And
you're absolutely right.
And perspective was
right.
displayed for me instantaneously.
Right.
And I talked to him about it the very next day, and he laughed and he said, no, if we lose a dog, we got to wait till the morning, and we got to walk around with like a big I'm looking for a dog look on our face.
Yeah.
Like, but it was fascinating. But as a white guy, I can totally go into especially looking the way I do.
Yeah.
You just walk with a flashlight. Hey, man, I lost my dog.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is like 4 different people that happen to be out walking their dogs like joined in to help me.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was like a community effort.
Right. Yeah.
If it was, I mean, so
it's
I had a very epiphanous moment with the Trayvon Martin thing. One evening, a little tipsy. Maybe I don't know what was all going on through my body that evening. I mean, I just remember that I was buzzed.
Yeah.
And it was after one of these big shows that a bunch of our friends will do, and we all were partying. And no cocaine, but let's just say like we were all partying.
Okay.
And so I come back and they're talking about the Trayvon Martin stuff, and you're so numb to this. That's the problem, is that a lot of people are just numb to...
Oh, you're from Florida, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm from Florida.
Okay.
So many people are just numb to news that they shut it down.
Right.
And I used to make a joke. I think people watch the news just long enough to form an ignorant opinion.
Yeah.
And just go, fuck this kid. Let me tell you something. Don't walk around in a hoodie.
I know.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so frustrating to hear that argument.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and what were some other things? Oh, and he was a bad kid, or he was that. And it's like, A, you don't know that. B, even if he did not deserve to be shot down by some wannabe cop.
Well, and the thing I realized that night I think I was in my man cave, and I remember I was sitting here.
Yeah.
But I was watching it, and I'm just kind of numb to it, sober. But at this intoxication level, I saw his dad talking, and at the time I was trying to trim my beard.
Talk to their parents,
and and all I thought was, everyone needs to stop for a second. They lost their child.
Yeah.
Like I'd really be bummed if I lost my child.
Right.
And I'd also want pretty fucking firm vengeance if someone took the life of my child.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you're black or white. I think that gets lost on people.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question I've been dying to ask you all day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm sure you have to have an opinion on everything in the news these days.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this free range parenting?
The what? Free range parenting. Yeah, we talked about it.
Really?
Yes. Okay, so we did a story on it.
Can you tell everyone what it is?
Yeah, okay, so free range parenting, and I want to recall the story that we did it on.
A couple in Maryland.
Was it in Maryland, the
Silver
recent
Springs.
one? Where...
Silver Springs, they have a child, they have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, or a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Right.
And they
walk to school and back.
They walk to school and back. They can go to the park a mile and a half away.
Right. There's limits to free range parenting. So free range parenting is you're empowering your children to make these decisions on their own so they can gain independence and they can be a more equipped young boy or girl to go and fend for themselves in the world, right?
And there's complete opposites of that. There's helicopter parenting, which is where you hover over your kid and you basically don't let them make any mistakes because you don't want to see them fail.
Don't ride a bike. I don't want you to have a boo-boo, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah,
and then there's tiger parenting where you're so strict.
Oh, I don't know what tiger
parenting is. I'm gonna Google it because it fascinated me. And then there's one more.
What's the other one?
It's called... Here, let me just type in.
Okay, when you're typing it, so free-range parenting also is they do have parameters, though, as you just stated, where let's say they say, okay, you can go walk to school, but that school can't be 10 miles away. That school has to be, I don't remember what the parameters were, but let's say 1.5 miles away, and you can only be gone for 20 minutes at a time or whatever their time frame is. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Were you allowed to ride your bike to school?
Yes, I walked home from school starting in 4th grade.
So at 9 years old?
From 9 years old to about 11 years old, I walked home from school every day. Yep. And it was about probably, I mean, it wasn't that far. I'd say it was 1 mile to the T. It would take me about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to walk home.
Attachment parenting is the other kind.
Which is...
Attachment parenting is the people who basically the child dictates the lifestyle of the parent.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It's just
that's
fucked up.
horrific.
It's like the baby sleeps in bed with us
because the baby wants to.
Because the baby wants to.
That's insane.
If the baby wants to eat, then we eat.
You're coddling the child and enabling any decision that they.
Fucking horrible.
That's horrific. I think the best way of parenting, and I'm not a parent yet. I am a proud auntie, but I would think that the best parenting would have to be everything in moderation. You know what I mean?
Well, to be a hybrid parent. Like I'm definitely part helicopter parent.
Yeah,
I'm not free range. My wife's free range. My wife,
she is free range.
My wife,
yeah, I think free range is for me personally too extreme. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood where in Santa Cruz, where
Santa Cruz is fucking amazing.
I know, and I was in Aptos, which was not like Santa Cruz is amazing. I love it, and in Aptos it was even more homegrown. Even though I had a couple incidents walking home, I remember,
Really?
and that could be just your 9-year-old mind, you know, being paranoid too.
No. There are creepy motherfuckers out there. That is real.
Yeah.
I explained to my wife, there are people who kill people and wear their fucking suits.
I know. That happens. We report on it. That happens. So
it's real. Now, but this is the problem with what's going on with this free range parenting is that
the mom or the parents they got child.
Oh, they picked
CPS.
They picked the kids. The kids were 2.5 blocks away. They're walking home.
See, I don't think CPS should have gotten involved.
They're walking home across a street bigger than Wilshire. Just to give you a heads up. So like they're walking, and it's a 10 and 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And the cops. Someone called the cops. The cops picked the kids up. Kids call CPS. CPS takes 3 hours to decide what they're going to do.
Right.
Kids don't get home until 11 o'clock at night, and it's a fucking nightmare. Here's the biggest problem is that, and I hate to say this to you, be working for a news company like CNN, but we have so many news channels that do news 24 hours a day that they take something like child abduction, which is a very serious subject, but very isolated. It maybe like 1 in every 3 million kids is the stat I read.
Right.
And don't quote me on that, but gets abducted. But when there is an abduction, like Natalie Smart, or whatever Natalie Smart,
I forget. What is some
Elizabeth Smart?
Elizabeth Smart, yes.
That's a fucking real.
I know.
Like, and they cover that, and then it gets in your head.
Yeah.
The truth is, I was like you.
Yeah.
I like. In like
ride your bike
third grade. In third grade,
go to the candy store.
I could ride my bike up to Florida Avenue. And go to the Circle K. And ride all the way down to 7-Eleven, which was a good mile. I do that jog now when I go to my parents' house.
Yeah.
And it's.
But would you do that today? So I don't think my parents would do that today.
Oh, never.
Yeah, I think it was a different time, and I sound so old saying that, but I feel like it was a different time.
My wife looks at it, you got to eat a pound of dirt. This is tiger parenting, because I thought this was interesting.
So how strict is tiger parenting?
Tiger parenting is the new term that was coined by the popular myth Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother, who self-proclaimed tiger mother. They're strict and expect their children to follow rigid rules and demand excellence in academics. The term stems from the idea that tigers are the symbol of strength and power and generally inspire fear and respect.
See, I don't think instilling fear in a child is good. And I'm pretty sure that there's data out there that supports that.
But my wife is part tiger parent in that, like...
But it's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid. She's
so
hybrid.
Everything in moderation,
hybrid, free range, hybrid.
And I think that's okay.
She's no helicopter.
Right.
She is no of the other two.
Yeah.
The other two. If the girls have a nightmare and come in crying, my wife's like, get back in bed.
Oh my God, I don't know the parent. I'm going to want to cut on my kids and be like, it's okay.
My wife went to London for a week, and they slept in bed with me every fucking night.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, I get scared too.
Right. Well, that's great that there's a balance between the two of you.
Oh, there's no fucking balance. My wife makes all the calls. Like, Georgia had a dream last night. She was crying, and Leanne's like, honey, you got to soothe yourself. Georgia did this thing. I do this thing called Fire and Hot, where I can tell that I'm getting a little manic. And I get really creative, and I start laughing a lot, and I start making people laugh a lot, and it's infectious.
So it's a zone.
And I get like that, and George got like that yesterday, and I said to Leanne, I go, giving you a heads up, the crash is coming when she gets in bed, and there's no one to play for.
Yeah.
And she will be having a panic attack.
Okay.
And George had a panic attack in the middle of the night.
She did.
Oh, yeah. And Leanne's like, get back in bed. Your dad drinks. No, she didn't say this, but this is what I'm sure she's thinking. Your dad drinks too much and parties on the road because he doesn't like sleeping alone either.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen to you. You're going to self-soothe.
Okay. So she's
4 in, 6 out.
Wow.
That's how she breathes with her. She'll breathe with her.
Yeah.
And she'll go, but you're going back to bed by yourself.
She breathes with her, so she tries to calm her down.
She's a good mom. She's a great mom. But there's a little tiger parent in that.
Right.
But I'm a helicopter fucking...
You're just...
attachment
patrolling. Tick, 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 tick.
I like Leanne's like, they got to eat a pound of dirt, and I'm like, I don't know. Do you think you'll have kids?
Yeah, I can't wait to have kids. But
do you want to have kids?
Yes, I can't wait. But I'm definitely thinking it's a year out. And then I think we'll start trying.
Well, what's your plan though? Because you're interesting. You're not full of shit.
Thank you.
I've dated a lot of hosts.
Oh, really?
And they're...
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, it was like, that was my thing.
You liked TV hosts?
Yeah, because I'm a mess, too.
Okay.
And so all female hosts that I ever met were all fucking like a little bit of a mess. Like,
we all are in this industry. We all are.
I think anyone who decides to get in front of camera, share their views, speak about themselves, get on stage for an hour and talk about themselves.
We're all fucked up.
We're looking for
to some
something.
degree. I agree with you.
Don't know what it is, but we're definitely looking for something.
Right.
But when I met you, you were very normal.
Thank you.
I could see it, and I was like, you reminded me of a girl that you're probably not going to want to be compared to, but who I used to be like friends with, but then I saw in
who?
Jillian Barbary.
I love her.
Yeah,
I love her. She comes on Dr. Drew. We haven't seen her in a while. She used to come on every week. Her and I became really close, and then she's doing KABC right now.
I don't know.
It's like a radio show.
I ran into her, like, I worked with her for like a year.
Fucking love her.
And then I ran into her like fucking like maybe 4 years ago, and she had no recollection of me. And I was like,
what?
I was like, Jillian.
I wonder if she'll remember me next time I see her.
She mentioned me in in Jillian's defense, she works a lot.
Yeah, she's
So she's worked with a dickload of people.
You're right.
In a dickload of capacities.
And she works a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
So different people, different crews, different. It may be just like kind of trying to place you with what part of her life.
She didn't even remember the show we were on together. Like, I mean, like, I'm not trying to trash Jillian, but like, she was. I said, "Hey, Jillian," I started this Red Bull event. She was working the Red Bull event. I was working it. I went, and they said, "Do you know Jillian?" I said, "Yeah, we had a show for a year together. She's the reason I got my second show." And she mentioned me when she was in Playboy.
Show?
It was a second show I had called Hurt Bert.
Okay.
Where I took dangerous men's jobs for a day.
Oh my gosh.
So I got mauled by a bull. I was a dominatrix scamp. I fought a bear.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I said, "Yeah, of course I know Jillian." She talked about me in her Playboy interview in like 2002. She mentioned my name. I was like,
she didn't remember.
She was like, "Hey, like, how do I know you?" And I said, "It's Bert."
I was your co-host.
Because I thought, no, maybe I look different. It's Bert from the X Show. And she went, What was the X Show? And I went, "We were on the X Show for like, you were on it for like 3 years."
Oh,
I was on it for like a year and a half. And she was like, What network? And I said, FX. She goes, "Oh, the talk show." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, and then she named the name of her talk show that took over the X Show. And I went, No,
the one before that.
The one before that. And she went, "Who did that?" And I went, "Mark Cronin." She went, I know Mark Cronin. I know Mark Cronin." And then I saw her sitting over, like, Googling. Like, I don't know if she was Googling me or Googling the X Show, but she was on her phone and she's like reading something. And she comes over and she goes, "Gary Valentine was on that." And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Who were you on it?" And I was like, "I was the host of the show."
That's
and I was
insane.
Like, and
I'm telling something must have like.
Well, she did just have a baby.
Okay, post-pregnancy brain.
And so I'm sure it's a bunch of that.
It had to have been post-pregnancy brain.
I literally was like, at one point, I was like, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I just told all the heads of Red Bull that I worked with you for a year and a half.
Right.
Which now I look like a liar.
Right.
Or you look like you've been on drugs. Like,
yeah.
One of us needs to just say, "I'm lying."
Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. And so I
missed you.
They were like, are you sure it was Jillian Barbary? I go, 100%.
Oh my god!
It was my first job in television.
For a year, you know who you're working with.
I worked with her every fucking Friday. She would walk in, she'd do a segment, she'd spend the rest of the day with us.
Yeah.
She is the reason I got my second show.
Right.
I did this Brazilian wax. And
what was Brazilian wax?
It was I got a full like asshole junk.
God. And
everything.
how bad does it hurt?
Oh, it's the funniest thing I've ever done in my life.
It hurts though, right?
Oh yeah. And we went to
hurts.
Jillian's waxer at Pink Cheeks.
Oh my gosh.
And like, and it was and so I just was like, I don't know. But like, what's your goal? Like, but when I hung out with Jillian on the X Show, she never felt full of shit.
Right. Yeah. I that's why I gravitated towards her. I felt like that she's not catty. She supports her fellow women in the business, which I think is so important. I don't understand why anybody would be catty in this industry, whether it's a female or a guy, whatever it may be. But yeah, and she's very sincere. So that's what I appreciated from her too.
She's very sincere. I remember talking to her about her ex-husband to me at the time. She's like, you and him would get along good. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, he's drinking a lot these days. I was like, really? She's like, yeah. I know what he's doing. He's drinking like a case of beer at night.
Yeah.
So I should introduce you to.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd fucking love to. I played baseball. She's like, oh, I didn't know that. And so I don't know what I'm dying. Oddly enough, I thought about Jillian Barbary the other day, and I thought, what's Bert Barbary doing?
Yeah.
He's got to be coaching like high school somewhere.
She just did Drew's radio show. I feel like, I haven't seen her in a while. I hope she's well.
So, but what's your
goal?
What do you want?
I would love, well, I have a couple of shows that I'm about to shop, which I can't really talk about, but those two shows kind of encompass what I want. But just generally speaking, I would love to produce and host a show that represents me. And that would be things where I feel like that I can have my voice. So right now when I go on Dr. Drew and I go on all these other shows, which I'm so grateful of, but it's, you know, it's under the umbrella of him, which it should be. So I would love to do something where I can have like a talk show that'll lend my voice. I love panel formats. So if I could do something like, you know, like a younger version of The View, or, you know, something like in the vein of The Real, but something again that's more me. And then I love competition shows. So if I could host like a competition show, which is something that I'm working on, and I can't tell you the premise. But again, if it was something like, and this is completely opposite of the premise, but just to give you an idea. So I love, you know, X Factor. So I love that, you know, like a show where Mario Lopez was able to host something like that because it's live. You get to see people, you know, reaching for their dreams, and then you also get that competition element too. So I guess all of the above. I mean, whether it's competition or whether it's just like talk versus panel.
Yeah.
So, but I want to be involved. I want to be producing. I want to be hosting. I want it to be both in front of the camera and behind the camera.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about like I always say this to people because I know, you know, Travel Channel listens to the show. Like, what would be your ideal travel show?
Oh my gosh, and I'm so into traveling right now. I've been just the last couple of years I've been able to actually support myself to like go on these trips, right? Because I struggled for a long time.
What's your husband do?
Which what?
What's your husband do?
He's a graphic designer, but he was doing pretty well for a while, and then he and I partnered together and we launched a candle company. It's called Wicked Candles.
Oh yeah, I saw that where the
they're like pre-dripped.
Where did I see this?
I just posted one on Twitter. You may have seen it on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you can buy them at like Urban Outfitters, Barney's, candle stores all over the world. Really.
And you don't get the drip all over your stuff.
No, they're pre-dripped, so they burn. Oh yeah, we talked about it on Ellis because Ellis loves the
I did
candles.
not talk about it on Ellis.
Oh no, we did.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Ellis did, but maybe you heard us talking about it. I don't know.
I just saw this.
Oh yeah, but they're called Wicked Candles. You can go to thewickedcandles.com, and so but yeah, you one of the collections is you light the candle and it looks like it's been dripping for ages and ages. It's all wax, but it actually just burns right down the center. They're pre-dripped, so they're not going to make a mess on your furniture. And we made those for our wedding 4 years ago. And then it just kind of, that passion project turned into a business. And it's still, you know, we're not making, tons of money off of it. Any money that we make goes right back into the company. But I feel like with my career in the last couple of years, I've been finally able to travel, because before then it was like pinching pennies like a crazy lady. It was insane. So I just been able to like go to Europe and go to the UK and go to, you know, Hawaii and all these different places. And I'm like, damn, there's so much out there that we have yet to see. You know, as a swimmer, I got to go to pretty much every town, I feel like, here in the U.S. So in the U.S. is awesome. I've gotten that, you know, pretty much covered. But yeah, I love traveling. If I were to have a travel channel, I would love to.
Because you do have that producer's brain.
Yeah.
You have the producer's brain of what is it that's special about me. I have a producer's brain, but I have a producer's brain in the field. Mm-hmm. Like on segments, I know how to. Right. I can, but. As so
is yours more spontaneous?
What's that?
Is yours more spontaneous when you're out there and you feel something and then boom, you...
Oh, no. I'm not... this is what I was going to say. I have a producer's brain in the field, but as for a salesman, as a executive producer to sell product...
Oh, to like pitch.
I'm still a comic. So all the things I pitch are my ideas that I do believe are fucking genius, but no one. But like I go. You gotta understand. Like I literally pitched a show. You know, after a few cocktails to the people at DIY at one of our upfronts called Moat Crashers.
Okay, Moat Crashers.
Just like Bath Crashers or Yard Crashers.
Yeah.
Only we go out and find people looking for moats, and we put moats around their houses.
That's hilarious, because I would love a moat.
I'd fucking love a moat, too.
I want a moat so bad.
I'd love a fucking moat.
Are there any moats around here?
Line of security.
Can we? Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
Yes.
Moats are so badass. When we went to, just recently, we were in London and we went to the where's the London Tower? Like what's that? why am I blanking on the name of that castle? The main castle there, where like King Henry lived.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Whatever. I can't believe I'm blanking on this right now. And the Tower Bridge is right there. And so when you go to this castle, you see where the moat was carved out, right?
Yeah. And
then they have these like makeshift kind of like statue lions and bears, because this king, he had, like you said, the first line of defense, he had this moat, right?
Yeah.
Then he has his bridge going to his castle. Now, right before the moat and after the moat are freaking lions and bears. That existed. Can you imagine going?
Awesome
so rad. You come to like visit this king, and you're like greeted by lions and bears, a moat, a bridge, guards. It's insane.
Have you been to Japan?
No.
The Emperor's Palace
moat
has the most badass moat.
Tell me about this moat. Are there
first of all, the Emperor's Palace is like, I'm ballparking, and by the way, part of this is imagination.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get to go into the Emperor's Palace, but maybe 100 acres no, that's way too much. Probably like 20 acres of just beautiful Japanese meticulous gorgeousness with a big fat fucking moat, and it's in the dead center of the city. Back in the day, probably
dead center in the city.
Dead center of the city. Just you drive through and you're like, what the fuck?
So their moat is actually full. Like you see water.
Full.
Like is there anything in it? Like is there like ducks in it?
No, but once the bridge is up, you're not coming over, dude.
No.
You're not getting over.
Good luck diving in. No, that doesn't happen.
And my point is, you go around, what was it? Wait, hold on. What was the idea I just came up with yesterday? I was
Please do Moat Crashers. Is Moat Crashers a thing? Because I think that's brilliant, and I would watch it every night.
No,
I want to see homes with moats. How did nobody get that? If you came into me and I was a network exec, and you're like, "Yo, I'm going to do a show about moats, and we're gonna moat crashers. We're gonna go and we're gonna build moats at people's houses." I'd be like, "That's the most badass idea. Yeah. Where do I sign the line?"
And then the other one, I mean, like I tried to even soften it and go, "How about we just go to like a medieval fair where everyone loves that shit, and we ask them who wants a moat?" Like,
because they would all want it.
But and here's the other part:
you go to a Renaissance fair and you're gonna get people with their hands up in the air. Hey, who wants a moat?
Renaissance fair. Who wants a moat? Dude's like, dude, let's go to Richmond, Virginia, where people got some properties.
Right.
I want a fucking moat,
dude.
And then I was like, first of all, give me a moat, and then moat out my backyard.
Yeah,
where we got little islands of like of Mancaves takes over that island.
Oh my god,
I know, right?
I'm
fucking isolating this audio and I'm sending it to. I'm telling you,
that is such a good idea. That is such a good idea.
So like my ideas are all
that Treehouse show I watch all the time, but Moat's way better than. I love tree houses, and I can't wait to see what tree houses he builds. Yeah. But I would much rather see moats.
Moats. I mean, I have.
You could do a moat with swans for somebody that may want like a shabby chic type house. You could have a range. Doesn't mean they all have to be kind of like medieval-esque.
Oh no, that's the beauty. Is you get a designer
to have a paddle boat in one of the moats.
You get a designer to get a hipster moat in like Larchmont, like a real hipster, cool, badass. Yes. Like there's designers. Like I'm not a designer. All I know is that
a hipster moat.
Like just like
it has a top knot.
Yeah, it's like it's got
a man bun.
Yeah. So, but you could go out to Colorado and give it an adventurer's moat.
Yes.
Like there's
a couple rapids.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, that's what I'm fucking talking about.
This is so good.
It's a great idea.
It's so good.
I am isolating this audio. I am taking this.
You need to do this.
We could co-host it together.
I totally would be in.
We go in.
Totally would be in.
We go in and we crash them.
Dude.
Guys, what are you guys looking for? Well, we're trying to remodel our bathroom. And then we look at each other and go, how about a moat?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And then we just start telling them. Yeah, we sell them on it.
Yeah, totally.
Oh,
yes. You find out, like, first of all, we take like 10 minutes and we kind of like investigate. Okay, so-and-so loves back to the paddleboating. She loves paddleboating. So then we know we can use that in our back pocket.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want a moat, but how about we do a moat where you could go paddleboating? There's a few swans, so we know where we can like throw out like the hook and then reel them in.
Yeah, tell me about it. It
could be a fisherman's moat where he could go fishing in his own moat.
We stock his moat for him.
With salmon. So I guess it would have to be like a freshwater moat,
with
right?
A waterfall where they jump upstream constantly. This is selling itself, DIY.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sending this.
Yeah,
I'm meeting all the people from DIY on...
that is such a fun idea.
In 1 week, and I'm going to go, hey, I've got a video of me and Sam.
Yeah.
This is our show. can you please buy it?
Oh my God,
give
a
us...
wave pool moat. So surfer, go to some dude in Santa Cruz and be like, yo, we heard that you want your bedroom redone, but we also know you're a surfer. How about a wave pool moat? He can constantly just surf in his own moat.
This is like...
That's amazing.
We're taking... It's like we're taking swimming pools and flipping them on their head. Yeah. We're really... I think this is going to sell.
Whole new
so that's the way my brain works with like...
Okay, so now I understand that.
But then in the field, when like I'm one of those people that when we produce our show, I am like we'll get a segment and I'll go, I don't think that's going to work because of this, or would it be better if we did this differently? Like the first time I ever really did it like probably wholeheartedly, like we had like a segment where we were doing this judging a Ernest Hemingway lookalike contest, and my travelers...
That's awesome.
My travelers didn't know who Ernest Hemingway was.
Oh, what? What?
They were really good looking.
Oh my god!
And they were young, and that's not their thing, was reading, and so so I brought him into Ernest Hemingway's favorite bar, and I was like, there's pictures of him. I go, do you know who this guy is?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, who is it? And I go, Ernest Hemingway?
Yeah.
And they're like, still doesn't
ring a bell.
So we had like fucking 5 Ernest Hemingway lookalikes. Oh. And I was like, all right, we need to change this. That's what happens on the travel shows a lot, is you got to change it in an instant.
Right.
And so I said, let's get scooters, and these guys live down here. Let's have them take us on a tour of Key West on scooters. And we'll be with 5 Ernest, and we'll all have scooters. We'll look like
awesome.
Wild Hogs, but with Ernest Hemingway.
That is awesome.
And so it works, but that's where my creativity works in the field. So now your Travel Channel show.
I would have to think about it. Now, just knowing me, myself, I love to have a theme. So when I go travel, I love to say, like, for instance, if I were to go do a road trip of the East Coast, or even it could be, I could say of the East Coast, it would be covered bridges. So I would be like, okay, I'm going on a covered bridge tour. I want to visit all the different covered bridges.
Really?
And that's my destination. But then you learn about, like, why was this covered bridge here? Was it involved in, like, the Civil War? Was it from bridges in Madison County? And again, this is just me, like, saying this at the top of my head. I'd have to really think about it. But another thing would be like a lighthouse tour. I would love to go through all the different lighthouses. And then of course
that's badass.
You learn about.
I like so we did not to cut you off.
No,
So we spent the night on a lighthouse out in.
I have to do that. These are things on my bucket list: lighthouse tour, covered bridge tour.
But like, what's fascinating about lighthouses is they're lighthouse couples, usually in their like late 60s,
and they run it.
And then what they do is they sign up for lighthouses all over the country, and they get a year in a lighthouse. And that's what they do. They sign up.
That's amazing.
And they go, this is our lighthouse for the year or for the summer. I think they do it for the summers. Yeah. And they go, they like have their lighthouses they want to go to. I would, by the way, that I like just what you said. I like that show because you could do it. You could shoot it all over the country all at once because you get your 5 different themes and you hit them up. And something
you discover so much too about each thing. You discover, there was somebody famous was born in this lighthouse. Like, you don't know, like, until you're there. And of course you'd have to pre-produce some of it. But when you're on these very specific thematic destinations, there's so much history that you end up, getting to explore as well.
It's kind of like, this is not, but it's like, do you ever see Dogs 101?
No.
Dogs 101's on Animal Planet, and they'll have like, it's just Dogs 101.
Yeah.
And they're like, today's show's about, and then Pomeranians, Bull Mastiffs, Dachshunds.
Right.
And then so you learn about all the different breeds.
Yes.
But it's, I think this show is more, the show you're talking about is like, it's like something like the fact like you're crazy about. Yeah. And then each week it's different. And it's like,
I love that.
Covered bridges, and you're like,
haunted B&Bs, little. I'm trying to think because I have a whole bucket list on things that I want to do, and it's all themes.
Really, so you're someone who looks at travel as like.
Like, I would go to England and I would want to go on like a Jane Austen tour. Like, I would want to like visit everything. I went to Bath because I love Jane Austen. Bath is in England, and
my wife is obsessed with Jane Austen.
I love Jane Austen. And so Bath is somewhere that she spent some of her time because her brother, and she was very dependent on her family. Your wife probably knows that. Her brother had gout, and so they would send Bath was this little town that was taken over by the Romans because they discovered these Roman baths there. And they're mineral water. They turned them into Roman baths, and they're still there today, 4,000 years later. So you go, and maybe it's like more 2,500 years later, but you go and you see all these Roman baths still today with the bubbling up bubbles, and you can't go in them because I'm sure it's like infested with stuff. But
your show is and by the way, it's like, as I hear it, I'm morphing the idea, but like, what is brilliant about working at Travel Channel, and this is one of the things that was instilled in me when I first got there, and regimes change it, but the concept is you have to. I remember the first time I met this, I said, find people with passion.
Yeah.
Passion begets story. Passion. If you find passionate people, you don't have to do any work.
Right.
And so it's one of the beautiful things. I'm starting up my old show again very soon, but Bert the Conqueror. But I'm all the shit that's on the thing. It's all people that are passionate about it. So it's very little work you have to do. You just go in and go, hey man, tell me about driving mud drag trucks.
Yeah.
And the guy literally is like, well, here's the deal, and he'll walk you through everything. But what you're talking about is the opposite of what I'm doing. You're just saying, hey, follow me on my passion. Like, my passion is the small things that I just find interesting.
Right.
That will never be boring, because as the producer and host of the show, you will never be bored.
Right.
And that's where you lose people on TV, is when you get a guy
you
who
gotta
maybe,
be passionate. You're right.
it's like he was one thing, and then he just morphed into a new thing, and then they plugged him into a show, and he's like, so I'm here, and I'm the lollipop guy. Yeah. I love lollipop, but he has no interest in lollipops.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
so,
I totally know what you're saying.
So it's not one thing. You're not eating the world's biggest sandwich or doing the biggest throw rides. You're saying, no, I'm fascinated in covered bridges.
Let's go discover them.
Let's go on a covered bridge tour.
Yeah.
And 22 minutes of you hitting up, like,
oh, and they're so beautiful. I mean, I've only seen them in books. I'll Google them.
I'm in Miami.
Yeah.
And you just spot it all over. I'd watch that. I'd watch someone follow my passion,
And you learn so much, too. Like I said, like when you get to those covered bridges, you'll find out the stories real quickly. You can talk to people locally in the town, and they'll tell you them. They're so proud.
Well, it's take a look at the people we hang out with in this business. Ellis is a perfect
Love
example.
him. Yeah.
I'll use Ellis and Rogan as perfect examples.
Yeah.
Ellis
I
has
still have yet to meet Joe Rogan. I want to. I think I'm a huge fan.
He's fascinating.
Yeah.
Joe is a man with a couple different passions, but he's really curious.
Yeah.
He's like a curious fucking guy. So like, I remember him telling me one day, he was like, I want to do something, this ... show. I go, Joe, anything you do is going to be interesting, because if you're interested in it, you make it interesting.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, but I don't know. And I was like, no. Like, anything you're passionate about, I become like bow hunting. I get fucking he got into bow hunting, and all of a sudden every one of us are kind of like, I gotta fucking hunt an animal, see what that's like. I gotta see if I'm the man or not. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you on the network. I'd love to see you on the network.
Oh my gosh, I would die.
I'll be with all of them next week, and they'll listen to this podcast.
That's amazing.
And I'm going to isolate our pitch.
Oh, the Moats is
for
so
Moat
good.
Crashers.
I think it's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And then I'm going to isolate that video, and I'm going to have it so I can email to everyone at DIY. It's all new people at DIY. I used to know everyone at DIY. But I'm
so excited. Well, thank you even for, that's cool. I'm glad I even got to kind of pitch my own thing.
No, I know, but I think I do this a lot, as because the network listens to the podcast, like randomly, on the train or whatever. And I'll be like, hey, check out this episode. And I'll be like, and if you're ever, and the network's always like, it's a very family network. Like,
is it? Like, I love that.
Oh, they're very much like, hey, can you get me tickets to Ari Shafir's show? And I go, yeah. And they're like, I'd like to meet him. Can you tell him I'm going to be there? Of course. And then next thing you know, Ari has a general meeting. He's like, thank you. You're like, no, it's not. I didn't do it.
Right.
I really didn't do it. They were interested in you. And it's people that are cool talking to comics who don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just set him up with Russell Peters.
That's so
and I was
cool.
like, you should follow Russell on his tour. And he travels the world and does arenas. Set him up on his tour, and I'll help guide whatever you think, because I know comics and I know travel. I can help marry it for you. But
that's actually a good idea. I love that altruistic, like reciprocal altruistic, nature that you have, and I think I have that. But that it is rare to see that in this industry. It is, unfortunately, and it's I don't know why, because I feel like you all raise up together, and it's so much more fun to work with your friends and people that you like,
much more fun.
Right? So why not, all, get to that plane at the same time, or at least like in fluctuating time. So when you fall, they pick you up, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that, like, we have 3 new series on Travel Channel. I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to be able to remember them. Expedition Unknown, Booze Traveler, and I'm so sorry. It's another one that's they're all doing very well.
Oh, good.
Right now, they're all. I mean, I shouldn't probably say that, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think it's okay to brag for
Right.
not my show.
Yeah.
But like they're all doing really well, and they're all really cool dudes that are doing it. I haven't met all of them yet, but I know the people at the network, and they're like, you're gonna love this guy. Wait do you meet Jax Maxwell? You're gonna fucking love him. Wait do you meet Josh Gates? You're gonna fucking love him.
So they pick people that they feel are like genuine people. They obviously have like a picker for that, and I think that's important.
No, it's just the network kind of feels them out, and they bring them, and they kind of just, it's like a real fucking family. Like, do you guys like this? Everyone likes it. They're like, let's do it. And so I get really proud that they're doing well, because I know for a fact that my ratings on the show are probably dictated by the network's ratings. Like I'm not Adam Richman, and I'm not Anthony Bourdain, and I'm not Andrew Zimmern. I'm Bert. I've been there for a while.
People like watching you though, but I get it. I get what you're saying.
But I want their shows to do well. I want people to watch their shows, because if they watch their shows, they might watch my show too.
It helps. You're right. But no, you have so much passion. People, it's contagious. So people watch you because of your contagion.
I feel like I'm a good ticklish person. Did you ever do drugs growing up?
I was so anti that, not because I thought it was bad, because of swimming. So I was kind of like, and especially it happened all when I got really into Minor Threat. You know, Ian MacKaye, the lead singer, was straight edge.
Oh, yeah.
So that was kind of like, okay, I'm in swimming, and I know I did get tested all the time because I was an international swimmer. So I was like, okay, I get tested for this and that, and I can't really use. Plus, Minor Threat, straight edge. So I was pretty straight edge. I mean, I would drink here and there, but not really. And then when I got to college, I would drink, but no, it never really became like a dominant
drink like
yeah, I wasn't really into it. I do have, like my family does struggle with addiction though too. So I think I've always had that like ingrained in me, where I'm like, okay, I can enjoy it, but I feel it in my bones. I know that there's a very fine line where I could probably go and never come back.
Really?
I feel that in me. So I think I've always been hyper aware of that, just on like a molecular level, if that makes sense. But I never frowned upon it. Of course, if one of my friends, were at the point where it was harming them, I would definitely be there and support them. But yeah, it wasn't really my bag.
I was like that with painkillers when I fell off a waterfall. And then I was on painkillers, and I was very litigious. I don't know if that's the right word, but litigious about. I don't think that's the right word, but I was discerning.
I always get my words mixed up. Always.
I learn a word,
and I pronounce them wrong. I pronounce all my words wrong. Like forever, I was saying prevalent instead of prevalent, and finally, my dad's like, "Yo!" And I went to like a bilingual school growing up. I went to the school in Watsonville, which is like the Hispanic community in Santa Cruz, and it was like one day in Spanish, one day in English, and I think it fucked with my vowels, because I'll be like, yeah, and that rape culture is so prevalent, and so my dad's like, yo, you're not saying it right, and that happens a lot to me. My vowels aren't right.
I was saying omnipotent when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, I think you mean omnipotent? And I was like, yep, that's it.
Yeah.
I go, potent looks like such more of the powerful part of that word.
Yeah.
All potent. Yeah. Omnipotent.
Right. That sounds like me.
Yeah. I just started reading again, because I'm working on another book, and I was like, I gotta step up my game.
Yeah.
I'm 42, and I just look at it like, I can do this. I can cruise by. Or I can cruise by and succeed.
You're doing it though, man. You got your house, you got your family, you got your books, you got your shows. You've got your podcast, you've got your comedy. Like, give yourself a pat on the back. Well, I know you want more, but you're doing it.
I know I'm doing it, but I feel like I'm floating with the current sometimes, and what I want to do is paddling with the current.
Yeah, okay.
And so I feel like sometimes I'm floating with the current, and when I say that, I by no stretch of the means do I mean like working in a network for 6 years or 7 years. Do I feel like I'm not putting in work?
Yeah.
I just feel like I've got that going.
Yeah.
And I want to also develop things I want to develop things for the network. I want to develop things for other networks. I want to be on the scripted side, but I never want to leave the network. I want to be at Travel Channel for 20 fucking years.
That's amazing.
I had a conversation with Bobby Flay.
So you have your home. You have your home.
Oh, I want to be there for 20 fucking years.
That's amazing.
And have projects, like have a sitcom that runs for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then falls off, but I'm still at the Travel Channel. And then you do morning shows. Like, who knows? Who knows what the fuck I want? But I don't want to leave that network.
Cool.
And if I do leave the network, I will be sadly, but you'll never hear a bad word from me about the network.
Right.
It's such a great fucking place to be.
That's cool.
But what do you want to do? What do you want to be? Like, I had this epiphany. I was like, someone's like, I don't want to be doing stand-up at 50. And I was like, all my friends are 50 and they're doing stand-up. But I was like, I don't know if I want to be doing it at 60. Can I do it at 60? What don't you want to be doing at
That's
55?
a good question.
Let's say 55.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. What don't I want? I don't want to be retired. I know for a fact. Like, I love, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I do. And even like, I have like this small fear, because it sounds selfish saying out loud, and it's something that I battle, like, of even saying that as a mom. Like, I'm afraid that when I become a mom, and I can't wait to be a mother, but I'm also afraid that that will, take me away from what I love so much right now, which is my job. So I do believe I can balance it all. And there will be some, I'm going to have to take a little bit of time to breastfeed the baby and do all that. But I love work. So I can't imagine ever retiring until I guess I was like 80 years old.
Yeah. I mean, part of me feels like, what am I going to retire? Like, what the fuck? It's not like I work that hard anyway.
And you enjoy what you do.
And I love what I do.
Yeah.
So, like,
I mean, what do people do when they retire? They pick up usually a hobby that they love and they travel. That's exactly what you're doing. So it's like,
yeah, that's a good point.
That's your retirement. So I'm trying to, what's your greatest fear at 60 then for you, or 50?
I want to keep working for the network.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, it would be nice.
What don't you want to be doing?
I'll tell you what I don't want to be doing is at 60, I don't want to have to do clubs.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if anyone will come and see me at 60.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to have hair transplants, and I don't want to be like on steroids and
right.
And by the way, it sounds like I'm describing Voss, but I'm not. No, I'm kidding.
Who's that?
Rich Voss is a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Like no, but like at 60, I don't want to have to be doing the clubs. But if I am doing the clubs, I'm sure I'll be cool with it. That's one thing I always learned in life, is that you can't imagine certain things. I can't imagine being paralyzed. I can't imagine that at all, and I think I would really stink. Yeah, and it would be hard to get over. You know what? There's people that get paralyzed and they go, no, you just get through it.
I know, and they find the silver lining, and they pick up something that they would have never done when they were not paralyzed.
By the way, by no way am I trying to correlate paralyzation and doing the road at 60. but like I'd like to. I know what I'd like to do. I'm working on a book right now with a friend. We're working on a book together that is fiction.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and I'm trying to. I would love to release a series of fiction books.
Really?
Yeah, because
what age genre would it does it fall into?
Oh, like
is it
like
adult,
I would like to be
young?
No. I'd like to be like what I'd like to do is do something like Patterson does.
Yeah.
James Patterson, are you familiar?
Yeah.
Like, I would like to do what James Patterson does.
Okay. And
with my buddy Keith, and me and him work on a fiction series with a character as the lead.
Right.
And then he like I loved Agatha Christie. I loved Dan Brown. I loved
me too.
all that shit.
Me too.
So like I'm like I love that. I really love that, and I love reading it. Just like I love comedy.
Yeah.
And just like I love hosting. I love that. Why wouldn't I do that? And I got a buddy Keith who's like a fucking, college roommate, like. And we both wrote a couple scripts together, and he moved to Aspen. Now he writes books for rich people.
Right.
Like, he ghostwrites for rich people.
That's insane.
And I was like, let's me and you do something together.
Yes. So wait, I just got an idea again for our travel show. Because you love series books, so do I.
Yes.
Like, you mentioned Dan Brown, you mentioned Agatha Christie. If you can find, like, let's say we start with like the moments from the Dan Brown books, or the moments from Agatha Christie, and you go visit those locations that were so picturesquely described within the books, or like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, that series, and you go to like those places.
I'd love to do that.
Freaking Harry Potter. When I was in London, I did a little Harry Potter tour, of course. Like, why not? You get to go to like where
James
Hogwarts.
Mishner. You ever read James Mishner?
Give me the names of the books, and I may
Alaska, Hawaii, Texas.
No.
Centennial.
So are there cool like places in there too?
He wrote a book called The Caribbean, and it is. What he does is he fictionally documents the history of a place. So he will tell you the story of a boy based on real history and walk you through what the Caribs and the Indians and what happened in that area. It is
so you're getting a history lesson too.
I love James Mishner.
I love stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get into that.
So when we travel with me and my dad or my family, my dad would always buy a Mishner book and read it as we travel.
That's amazing. That's what I'm talking about.
So when I backpacked through Europe, I bought the book The Travelers, I think is the name of it, or The Outsiders, or the
Outsiders. The Outsiders. No,
it's the Missioner. I'm going to give you the real name of the book only because it's a great. Hang on, ready? James Michener. James Michener is, but they're long books. If I have one, I'll give you one. Let's see if you can find all his
I'm
books.
always down for a new
James
book.
Michener's a great. I'm going to let you get out of here soon.
No,
I'm sure
don't
you have.
worry about it. I'm getting my chapsticks.
Works.
That's one thing I'm addicted to. Speaking of my addicted personality, I'm addicted to green tea.
The Drifters.
Chapstick.
The Drifters.
The Drifters. Okay, I never read it, but
it was written in 1971 about a bunch of kids.
Very famous.
Who are kind
I'm
of
well
like,
aware of the Drifters.
Yeah,
never read it, though.
who kind of float over to Europe, and they each have different stories, and they're all from different places.
Are there like coffee shops that they go to, or bars where you could go like?
Oh, they go down to the very southern tip of Spain.
Yeah.
To the Rock of Gibraltar, which I guess is England.
Oh, yeah.
It's so the Drifters. I've read Hawaii. I've read Texas. I've read Caribbean. I've read Mexico. Like I used to be really into it because you'd go to these places and you can read it, but you gotta like I would love to get the rights to Michener's books.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Right now the network's like, let's just work on your show that we have you on. Let's like, we got a new season. Let's work on your voiceover. You remember you said you wanted to do your voiceover on the show?
Yeah.
Why don't you sit down and write on your voiceover?
Right.
Let's not pitch new shows.
Yeah, let's do one thing.
Fix the
at
one
a
we're.
time.
Let's make the one we're doing better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're very ambitious. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't like. Do you dream?
What do you mean?
Do you dream at all?
Oh, do I remember my dreams? Yeah, I do. I don't write them down though. I should. I remember them briefly, and then I'll try and analyze it, and then I move on with my day, and I forget.
Okay. Well, do me a favor. Keep. If you have any really, really spectacular dreams, speak them in your voice thing, because I'm trying to do a show.
That's a great idea.
Well, I do a show on this show. I do
where people tell you.
No. I do. I dream like
vividly?
Hardcore.
You do?
I did the podcast before. The one that's out right now is just a recollection of my dreams.
That's amazing.
And so, because I would give them to Doug.
Have you had someone analyze them for you?
No, I haven't had anyone analyze them.
You should.
That's not a bad idea.
You should, because I met with someone that analyzed one of my dreams, and it was so bizarre because it's things that you don't think of. I don't remember at the time. This was back in college, and I think it was like a guest speaker that we had in one of my. Wasn't even a class. It was more like an elective. And I remember telling her my dream, and it was things that I wouldn't think of, but she was so spot on. She was like, okay, you dreamt of, and this is just me giving you an idea. This wasn't what my dream was about. But she's like, okay, you dreamt of a GoPro camera. What does that mean to you? Like literally you would think, okay, there's a GoPro camera in my house or in my dream. And, do I have this fear that I'm going to be on a podcast the next day? And then she would say, what does a GoPro camera mean to you? Well, it's this new innovative invention, and I love the idea that it can capture you when you're, out surfing or you're on a cool adventure. And she'd be like, okay, so that's a positive thing. And you what in your life is positive? And she breaks it down, and then you'd be like, yeah, and then there was an eagle. Well, what do you think about an eagle? Well, when I see an eagle, I think of my grandmother, because my grandmother, it was her favorite bird. And she pieces the whole dream together, and she's like, okay, so basically you're trying to work out this issue that you have right now that your grandmother just died. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
she's right.
I welcome any dream interpreter to come and try to figure out any of my dreams.
Please do it.
My dreams are a tad bit more act structured. Like I'll have fucking shit.
Who called you?
I can't say because they're listening to the podcast. Hold on one second. Hang on one second.
Did you miss something?
Hey, can I call you in 10? All right, I'll call you back. All right. No, I have a production call that I was supposed to be on, and I totally forgot about. Actually, didn't forget about. I've just enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
I'd love to have you on when I have I haven't done it in a very long time, but I'd like to have more podcasts where I bring in 4 people. Yeah, and we all hang out and kind of talk.
Love that idea.
Yeah, because you're really good at that.
Drew, Mike, and Ellis. Wouldn't that be just the dream team? I'm bringing
Ellis in, and I'm bringing Tully in.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
Tully's really good at
he's so good.
Analogies.
Yeah.
We talked
spot on.
We talked about putting a finger in a girl's ass, which is a odd subject, but I said
something that I feel like it's brought up quite a bit on Ellis's show.
Yeah, and I said there was a period where my fingers were like Lewis and Clark, like they just constantly curious, and
exploring,
and Tully
left and right.
Yeah, and Tully just didn't miss a beat, and he goes, I think my my fingers have always asked for permission from Queen Elizabeth before going on an exploration.
So
and
smart.
He was so fucking quick.
I know.
So we're gonna do an analogy podcast.
Okay, cool.
And then, but I'd love to have you on another time and just talk that. And I'm gonna isolate this video and I'm gonna give it to DIY.
Yes.
And if you guys are lucky, you will see at least a sizzle of Moat crashers.
Oh my god!
Hopefully they'll just greenlight us the series.
Dude, it'd be the best.
Oh, it'd be the fucking greatest.
And it's such a good pitch for other shows for us to promote on.
Oh.
You know, you call a booker at Good Day Lane and be like, yeah, there's this new show where they get moats. Even if they don't want moats, they get moats. They think they don't want a moat, but then they love their moat.
Now, how does everyone get in touch with you?
Follow me on Twitter or Instagram or at Sam Schacher, SAMSCHACHER. Please follow me. Thanks.
Did the Schacher joke, was that lost
my
on
God.
you?
I learned that 4 years ago. I was like, why does everybody put that?
4 years ago you learned what the Schacher was?
I was in my 20s. I was like, I was aware of it. I didn't know it was called the Schacher.
Wait,
Of course I was aware of it. I mean, we all know what that means, but I was like, why are people using that gesture to me? I didn't know that you guys called it the Schacher. I mean, how embarrassing.
I love that you go, I was aware of it. I mean, I party. I just didn't know it was called the Schacher.
Yeah, I didn't know it was called that until people started doing that, say, hey, what up, Schacher, and then showing me that hand gesture. And then it was like, wait a second. And I forget who I was with. I was with a friend at the time. She was like, wait, you don't know that that's called the Schacher? And I was like, what do you mean? And I Googled it.
You're like, oh, doing the pink one in the stink?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's my last name. Sweet. I still don't think my parents realize. I still don't think they know. I don't even know if my siblings know.
I have a friend, Rusty Trombone, and
that's not his name.
No,
I'm not that gullible. I am gullible, but I'm not that.
I almost passed out. Sometimes I can laugh myself into a pass out, and it's the best laugh ever, and I'm just coming out of it. I almost fucking passed out.
That's good. That's healthy.
And you have your candles?
I have my candles, thewickedcandles.com. Please watch Dr. Drew on HLN, 6 p.m.
Yes, and then you can tweet her. Do you guys live tweet?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, go ahead and tweet me during the show, and we air all the tweets. If you tag Dr. Drew HLN and then me, we put them on and we answer them. And
please. Are you guys working today?
Yeah, I don't know what we're covering yet. I'll find out in a couple hours. But yeah.
Really? So what you do? You just go down to the studio and
so it's like a street from my house. It's really
close. Do you work every single day?
I was working every single day, but we're changing the format. So now it's it just kind of depends because before we would always switch out the guests, and now we have a lot of new guests that are coming in, and it's great. We're making it a lot more diverse, so it's good. But yeah, it just depends on the topic. So if we're doing something that's very race heavy, they're going to want to have a panel on that has not only is reflective of diversity, but it's also going to maybe be a cop, right? We want to hear from the cop.
I think they should do that, and then just have white people.
Can you
and just be like, I don't see the problem in this.
It's so
it sounds like a lot of poo pooing around.
Yeah, we found that before. I don't know if it was on that show, but I've been on a panel before where we were talking about. I don't remember if it was Ferguson.
Maybe that's the show we need to pitch called One Sided.
Oh my God, it was all white, and we were all very, empathetic, and we're all very trying to figure out the solution and trying to have a very great dialogue about race relations in America. But it was 4 white people, and of course we got slaughtered on social. Everyone was like, "Cool, 4 white people talking about race in America."
Ferguson, they don't even have a Gap. Can you believe that? They don't even have a Gap or a Banana Republic.
Starbucks. There's
no
just
Starbucks.
Can you believe there's no Starbucks?
I went there, couldn't find an Abercrombie.
Yeah.
No, that is fucking hilarious. I want to do a show. I've always wanted to do a show where it's seems like outrage is so people put on their Facebook, put on their Twitter, and outrage seems.
I call it Facebook, because it's always outrage. Yeah.
And I want to do a show where you get a studio audience, but they don't have to. You don't see them. They just get to tell you their opinion, and no one knows what it is.
That's amazing.
And
that is such a good idea.
And and you just watch maybe 2 people argue, and then people are and then people are like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah,
and
and you should have a big screen where it's just flooding in.
We're just watching
yeah.
But it's I want to hear people's real opinion, because when you go to a dinner party, people say fucking
especially a few drinks in.
How's this me?
What do you mean? You're calling yourself?
Me calling myself.
That's really spooky.
Hold on. Hello?
Can
Congratulations. You have just won a free, all-inclusive cruise to the Caribbean. To claim your prize,
It says
simply
me.
press 9.
That does say
That's
you.
the 9 key. Press
It says you
now.
want a free cruise.
It says me. I'm calling myself, telling myself I want a free cruise.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Did you plan that?
No. How is that fucking possible?
Hello?
Bert?
Oh.
Is this Bert?
Virus detected. Virus detected. Virus detected. Virus detected. Virus detected. Virus detected.
Stop it. Who is that?
Virus detected. Virus detected. Virus detected.
What is he saying?
Water detected. Go to your mustard station. Go to your mustard station.
Virus detected.
Who is this?
It's me.
Bert.
Who is this? He hung up on me.
Is this a
I
new
swear to God, I
shtick on
swear to
your
God, I
show?
swear to God, I
Or
swear to
are
God.
you haunted
No,
by
I swear to God,
demons?
I swear to God. Look at this. I swear to God.
I want to run out of this scary-ass haunted man cave
Look at
before
this.
it's too late.
The last phone call. What's it say?
Me.
Yep. Oh, I shouldn't give everyone's phone number out. Shit.
Yeah, way to go. Way
Sorry.
to go and show Travel
Yeah.
Channel's phone number.
Look at this. I shouldn't give my fucking phone number out. Son of a bitch.
Dude,
Fuck, I'm
that's
an
the most
idiot.
bizarre thing. Who was on the phone, though?
I don't know. Water detected. Water detected.
Shut up.
Wait,
Bert.
I swear to God. I swear to God. I swear to God.
This is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
That was fucking insane.
I'm going to leave, and then you're going to laugh and say, ha,
By the way, the
ha.
last 15 minutes of this podcast have been bizarre.
Yeah, I feel like there's a presence in here.
That's fucking crazy. All right, let's end on that. Sam, go to Wicked Candles. Go to Sam Schacher,
Yes.
Schacher.
Boom.
Find her on Dr. Drew's show.
Yep.
Every night, most of the nights,
Yeah.
and you can hear her on Ellis. You can hear her on just about anything. Hit her up if you want her on your podcast. Other podcasters,
Yeah.
hit her up. She's so much fun to talk to, and I want
Thank
to
you.
come back and have you on when we have like a couple.
I would
couple
love
guys
that.
in here, and we're all having beers, and
Yeah.
we can,
And when you're promoting your show, come on my pop culture show on the Young Turks.
done.
Okay,
done,
good. We'll
and
have
done.
You have to let me know when would be like the best time to do it because
My
boom.
show starts airing again. Trip Flip starts airing June 2nd.
Okay, so we should do it like the week before
Yeah,
and
week
get it
before.
out
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
Okay, good. I'll put
And,
you in touch with my EP tomorrow.
And you will see our show, Moat Crashers, coming
Yes!
in probably fall 2015.
I can't wait.
All right. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
Thank you.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.